It's the Christmas vPub. That usually means some form of blind challenge. It usually means two teams competing against each other, but we've not done that tonight. What we've done tonight is to try and focus more on community. Focus on what 2022 has been about for you, what your moments have been, what your whiskies have been, and even the blind challenge. I'm trying to kind of focus a wee bit on the community and the blind challenge tonight as well. But this is going to work in the background because throughout tonight we're going to have folk dropping in and telling us about their 2022 and what they look forward to in 2023 as well. I'm excited. I'll see you in a wee minute. Hello, whiskey folk. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to the vPub. Welcome to another Thursday night, the last Thursday night before Christmas. I hope you're all doing very, very well. I hope you're sitting comfortably. I hope if you're fortunate, you're off hire now. You're kind of starting to wind down for a bit of a holiday break or whatever it may be, regardless, wherever you are, if you're tuning in live or if you're tuning in on the replay, sorry, the vPub replay. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you've got something nice in the glass. Tonight is a blind challenge, but as I mentioned to you, I'm going to try and keep it just kind of running as a kind of background thing rather than focus on the blind challenge tonight. Because, if I'm honest with all of you, I have either picked these 5 blinds perfectly or I've made an absolute mess of them. And the theme behind it, the reasons I've picked these 5 are not the usual reasons I would normally pick whiskies for a blind challenge. Like I said, this is a community-focused one tonight. And there is a thread that weaves through all of the 5 whiskies tonight. There's something that connects them all. But don't overthink it if you're participating tonight. There are 14 sets of this, of which I have one actually. So there are 13 sets out there in the wild. But if you are playing along tonight, if you've got a set, don't overthink it. Just go with it. Just enjoy it. The whiskies are on test, first of all, and then it's just a bit of fun after that. So that's what we're going to do tonight, and I'm going to have various people dropping in throughout tonight to kind of just raise a wee glass to everybody, say Merry Christmas and share a moment. And of course, you know, it's one of those things that we're getting to the end of the year. You've seen it out there, if whether you watch YouTube, WhiskeyTube, whether you read social media feeds, or you read blog posts, whatever it may be. We're getting at a time of year where there's a lot of kind of whiskey of the year, top 5s, top 10s, whatever it may be. There's a lot of it out there. And there's a reason for that, because it's fun to do, because it's interesting for people to watch. It gets a lot of views, it gets a lot of clicks. It's a good thing to do. And it's just appropriate at this time of year. And it also gives us a wee bit of time to kind of retrospectively consider the year, because they do go very, very quickly, don't they? So there's a lot of that happening right now. But I kind of turned the torchlight round a wee bit and asked my patrons to put themselves in this place of all of those creators out there that are trying to pick their whiskey of the year or the top 5 list or whatever it may be. But I asked specifically mine because I tend to typically just pick one whiskey of the year. But it's brutally difficult. It's very, very hard. It's very hard to commit to one. So I always end up with honourable mentions in a top 2, 3, 4, 5 list or whatever it may be before I actually just get down to it and reveal what my whiskey of the year is. Ralfy's got a much better way of doing things, isn't he? He just gets in front of his wee fire and says, here's my whiskey of the year. Just bang, his job's done. But that's not an easy task. It's not easy to do. And I would argue with everyone that it's especially difficult in 2022 because I absolutely, genuinely believe that we have, despite challenges of availability and prices and lots of other things going on, we have been spoiled for choice in 2022. I hope you feel the same way. That's kind of the focus tonight. Try and involve you as much as I possibly can. It's difficult with lots of guests coming in, but hopefully we can still have good fun. Gregor Dykeman is in and he's bought me a dram. Merry Christmas, Roy, and all the barflies. Gregor, I'll raise this glass and say Merry Christmas to you, my friend, you and your family. And I hope you're having a great one. Thank you for the dram, my friend. And also Savar Bjorgfinson, my friend over in Iceland. He's saying Aquaviti, hello from Iceland. We've got snow And the Northern Lights, fantastic. Minus 10 degrees and a wee dram of Victoriana Christmas. I think so, he says. Well, here's to you, Savar. I hope it's fantastic and hope you're enjoying yourself. Cheers. Would love to visit Iceland one day. That would be amazing. Although you might be surprised that last week, as recently as last week, Savar, we had minus 10 here as well. In Glasgow, got pretty cold for a wee while. MG Rodness is saying, hi, Aquavita and Barflies. Merry Christmas. It's been an early one for me and my wife, welcoming our daughter. Oh my goodness. Born 2 days ago. I've opened my 25-year-old Adelphi Mortlack to celebrate. Let's raise a wee glass for that. MG Rodden, congratulations. That's kind of the best kind of news. That's got to be one of the best Christmas gifts as well. I hope everybody is nice and healthy and looking forward to their first ever Christmas together. Congratulations, my friend, MG Rodden. Superb. Superb. Just fantastic. Graeme Brown sent me a wee Christmas card, and inside it was a wee picture of his newborn baby. And it's just, I'm obviously at that time in my life, and my kids have grown up now, and we look very, very fondly back on when they were tiny little packages. And when you see that again, it's just the desire to kind of, these are exciting times, MJ. Just make sure that you savor every moment. Whiskey and Wine Trails, that's Tom. He said, Aquavite, cheers, Roy. I got my flight. I got some notifications in this evening. So if I'm right, Tom, when you're referring to I got my flight, I think you're referring to you've booked your flight to come to Glasgow next year for the Whisky Festival. And if that's true, then the snowball is starting to roll now. And by November time at the Glasgow Whisky Festival, we're going to end up needing a bigger boat, I think. After the success of this last November, it's going to be something to really, really look forward to. That would be amazing to welcome you here, Tom. That would be incredible. And Al Young is saying, Merry Christmas from Ontario, Canada. All the best, Barflies. And to everyone in the new year as well. Al, fantastic. Thanks to you and all the best to you as well. Drew from Arizona is saying, that is a beautiful dram you're enjoying there, Roy. Aquavite, great to see you, my friend. Well, do you know what I'm enjoying? Because I know what's in the I'm playing along tonight. Of course, I know what the blind whiskies are. I know what they are. But I want to play along. I want to taste the flavors. I want to see the challenges that we're having. And I want to try and put them in order and things. Because I know that's the whole thing about the whiskey of the year. Trying to pick your favorite is brutally difficult when the quality is all so high. Ryan Sutherland is here. Say, Merry Christmas, Roy. You've had a great year so far and looking forward to what 2023 brings. I agree, Ryan. It's been fantastic and I'm looking forward to next year too. And Rob Halford, my friend Rob, is saying, missed the start of the vPub playing Jenga with the Christmas food shop. That's right. It's just that big trolley, that ram raid, trying to fit space for it all in the cupboard. I feel your pain, buddy. It's good to have you in. Tommy Elmer is here saying, yeah, you'll make a fantastic grandpa. And I can't wait, Tom. I can't wait. I'm not looking forward to the moniker grandpa, but it comes with the territory. I'm looking forward to it. Dornpass Whiskey is saying, Merry Christmas, Roy, and everyone at work, so we'll watch. Tim, it's fantastic to have you here, and I hope you're able to catch a wee bit of it while you're at work. And Gerben in the Netherlands, Gerben, yeah, aren't you? Happy Christmas, and let's enjoy your whiskey of the year. No, that's next week. So next week, everybody can hear me pontificate and look back on the year and decide what my moments were, what my producer of the year, my whiskies of the year, all of that stuff. That's next week. I'm going to try and focus on you as much as I possibly can tonight, just as my friend Rob, Whiskey in the Six, chimes in with a generous dram. Robbie saying, Merry Christmas, Roy. Happy holidays, whiskey folk. Cheers. Rob, you star, you gentlemen. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you and Jeremy next year. I hope we can get that together. Might be January, not sure, but I'll raise this glass and say thanks for your dram and your Christmas wishes, buddy. It's a pleasure to welcome you in the vPub. Cheers, Rob. Stuff's terrific. Jimmy Legg is here. Did you miss a dram from Iceland, Aquavite? No, Jimmy, if it's Savor's dram, I did pick it up. But thank you for running shotgun for me and looking out for me. How are we doing? So, as I've mentioned, next week, if anybody's in here for my whiskey of the year and all that, no, that's in the summary of 2022, the celebration of 2022 that will happen on the 29th, a week from tonight. So 5 vPubs in December. Any patrons that's supporting me, they need to be aware of that, by the way. I'd rather have you just contribute towards the amount of vPubs that you want to support and make sure that you cap, however, because I'm putting out 5 vPubs for 5 Thursdays in December. So next year is going to be my summary of 2022. Tonight is just having a wee bit of fun with some guests, raising some glasses, saying Merry Christmas. But there is a fundraiser to do tonight. So all of these super chats that's coming in, thank you so much. Can I ask a very rude, very cheeky thing? Lee Hosey's bought me one saying Merry Christmas, Roy and the Barflies. Thank you so much, Lee. Igor celebrating being a member for 8 months, saying finally I can watch live, visiting family in Europe. Igor, fantastic to have you in, and it's fantastic that you're closer to our time zone as well. And James Frasher as well. James, thank you very, very much. That looks like a new name, buddy, and you've bought me a dram. Can I ask anybody who's thinking about buying a wee dram tonight, for me, to maybe consider putting it towards our fundraiser tonight instead? You might remember a couple of weeks ago, Jenny came on and she talked about our fundraiser. The link wasn't sorted out by that time. The auction wasn't ready to go live. So we've invited her back again because that fundraising auction is live now. It's live today. And we've got that to share with you right now. However, before we get on to that, before we invite Jenny in, for those of you participating in the blind challenge, you've got 5 drams, 5 3CL pours, and you've got coloured dots. You've got these wee stickers in your pack. You've also got these wee cards in your pack as well. There's a lid and there's a tasting mat. And the tasting mat looks a wee bit like this. And it's just got the colours on there. So you take one of your wee sticky dots, you put it on a Glencairn, and you pop the Glencairn in here, and you taste, and you decide what your favourite is to your least favourite. And it's very deliberate tonight. I hope everybody is going to really struggle to find what their favourite is to their least favourite. Like I said, I've either picked it perfectly or I've been really awful at it. Rank it favourite to least. So you take your lid off, you turn it around the other way. That's when you've got your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can lock in your preference with your wee sticky coloured dots. Just like if anybody's done the blind challenge before or they've done it live with me at a hosted event or whatever, it's the exact same thing. That's locked in. As soon as your colours are locked in the live chat, please tag Menno. That's at multi-mission. Just type multi-mission or at multi. As soon as you start to type MALT, it should pop up with him. You can hit yes. And send your favourite to least favourite, red, green, yellow, whatever it may be, to Menno. And he's working away in the background and he's going to record all of that. That'll give us a nice visual that we can use later in the stream to see how everybody's getting on with the blind challenges. I've got a bit of my gut, let's say my instinct suggests a certain direction. Let's see if I'm right. But yes, it's going to be interesting to see all the colours. You can look at it quite quickly and see what whiskies are doing really well. Then throughout tonight, I will disclose to you what the challenges are tonight live, and you can just write it down. So if you flip over, once you've taken all your notes from your original mat, you flip over to the other side, you've got your challenges here. There's nothing, it's blank. I'll tell you live what they are. You can just write it down in here and then again lock it in with your wee coloured dots. And then finally, I'll reveal what the whiskies are, and then you try and write them in here and match them up with the coloured dots as well. And that's where you can score 5 for your challenges and 5 for your blind semi matchup. You don't need to share your score. It's only for fun. Nobody's been judged over this. We've all done enough blind challenges to know how stupidly difficult it is as a task. That's not the plan for tonight. The plan for tonight, though, is to start off with that fundraiser I told you about. So hopefully we've got a wee bit of a link here, and I can copy this link. I hope that works. And if I drop it in the chat, I can start our fundraiser tonight and ask and tell you a little bit about what the Ben is, what the charity is that we're trying to save money for tonight. But I don't need to do that on my own because I've got somebody to come in and tell us a wee bit about it. Hopefully that's working. Has that been pinned? Yes, it has. So I'm going to reach out to the best dressed guest that we will have tonight, and it's my pal, Jenny. Jenny, if you're doing well, if you're ready to drop in and show us how you've just gone for it tonight, fantastic, Jenny. Welcome. I was telling you the woes of my Christmas jumper. I went into the cupboard and like I say, it's long gone. It's maybe at a charity shop. Maybe it's a cat bed. I don't know what it is now. But I'm pretty convinced that even if I found it, Jenny, it wouldn't have fitted me. Why? Because I did find my Christmas T-shirt.
Oh, nice.
I thought that'll do instead. I'll just wear that. It's not a Christmas jumper, but it's a T-shirt, even better. And I put it on, and all I can say is that I think it's shrunk in the wash.
Too many mince pies.
That's not going to happen. But you've obviously you've just done a fantastic thing. Thank you so much. Thanks for stepping behind the bar at the vPub as well. You were on a couple of weeks ago, and the link that we were sharing for the fundraiser wasn't working, but this is the legitimate link now, right?
I'm sorry, I was a bit frazzled, and so was that link. We were updating the website, and so things weren't working out. It worked during the day, and of course, then when we came on at night, it didn't.
It wasn't working, and people were coming in trying to donate and saying if it wasn't working. So we're going to talk a wee bit about the bigger picture thing that you're doing. We're going to talk about what the actual charity is and why we think it's important that we're raising funds for it for this Christmas vPub this year, and talk about that. And also, I'm going to encourage people. I know that sometimes you want to buy me a wee dram and things, and it's super, super generous of you, and I very much appreciate it. I love it. I really do. But tonight, I know that there's loads of folk out there that right now couldn't use it, or potentially in the future use it a wee bit more. Jenny, you're awful driven. You're awful generous. I know the things that you've done with your time this year. I know you've been literally running around Scotland raising money for the Ben and things like that. And that's what you're doing in December this year. What is this fundraiser about?
It's about raising funds for the Ben, that Scottish hospitality charity that I'm part of the board of. It's been a tough few years. The Ben solely raises funds through events and fundraisers. And events haven't been able to go ahead due to COVID, and also now the cost of living, it's been tricky for them to organize any events. They do golf events and dinners and all sorts of things. So that's starting up again. But meanwhile, we still need to raise these. We need to raise £300,000 a year to support our beneficiaries. And the beneficiaries range from retirees from the hospitality industry that needs a bit of a boost towards their pension, to people that work in the industry that might have a diagnosis and need to hospital treatments, and instead of taking the bus, which can be awful, they get the money to take a taxi, or they get a lift, or it could be a single dad, a single mum having a washing machine breaking down on them. They can contact the Ben and we can sort them out. We sort people out with quick grants and everything. So the money is needed, desperately needed. And I just want to make a point. Last time I was on, afterwards, I had so many messages asking me to send them, when the link works, please send us the link. And I don't think I did. I have been quite busy with the day job as well as with this auction. And then, as you can hear, as soon as on Tuesday, I signed off work 5 o'clock, and at 5:05, this cold hit me straight in the face. So I have a bit of a cough and a bit of a funny voice. So I've clearly been overdoing it a little bit, but I appreciate that. All the barflies and the gang that's just watching now, they're fantastic. The generosity and spreading it, even if you just put it on your Facebook about the Ben raising funds. But what we're doing, and this is the fun bit, so it doesn't feel like hard work. I've done it before. This auction, this is the third one we're doing. We used to call it the ambassadors auction, and it was because back then we were ambassadors, but now this year I've got the sales managers and production managers and as ambassadors as well. But other people within the industry are donating, and therefore we're just referring it more to like the whiskey industry, the auction for the Ben. This is fun for me because all I have to do is like email and phone and message all my friends and all my colleagues and everybody in the industry and ask you to
pitch in. We all pitch in, yeah. Yep.
And everybody just straight away, here's a bottle of this. I did get a little bit into trouble because it was such a last minute decision. I think it was end of November. I spoke to the whiskey auctioneer and I said, do you think it's possible? And they said it is possible from our side. So I just emailed everybody, and a couple of distilleries went back to me straight away saying, well, we wanted to make something. We always like to make a special donation, like a one-off. And they didn't have time. So, but those distilleries have still sent something amazing to us. And a few other distilleries have.
No, I had a look through the lots today, Jenny. They're fantastic. Yeah. Lots of fantastic. Yeah. But what struck me about it is that we spoke a wee bit about it a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I thought about the people that benefit from this. These are people that we rely on. We rely on them. And whether it's somebody that works in the on-trade, behind a bar, and some form of hospitality, maybe even distillery visitor centres and things, whatever it is, anybody that's done their time,
Yeah.
it struck me that most of the people we're talking about, the pay tends to be very tight.
Mhm.
And I think it's obviously difficult for them to pick up critical mass to look after themselves in the future. Their jobs are fickle. You know, hospitality is famously here and today and gone tomorrow. And these people that we've relied on for their expertise or knowledge, the frontline welcoming nature of what they are, if we want to know about whiskies or cocktails or whatever beer or drink it may be,
Yeah.
they're the people. And then suddenly they find themselves, because a bar, especially over the last 2 to 3 years, it must have been brutal. They find themselves with not very much, and that it's just the idea that there's a charity out there that's willing to say, "We've got your
Yeah.
back."
And it's
Yep.
important that they know that we're there for them as well, because even though during COVID we did get an increased amount of people coming to us, there's still people that don't know about us. So it's not just raising awareness for us to raise funds. We want people to know that we do these grants. We get grants from the government as well that we can share, and you need to come and ask us, and we help you fill out the forms. It's not tricky. So anybody that's struggling out there, definitely just get in touch with it's Chris. I like, so Dramface has you've put together a really nice spread on your news page,
Yes. Yep.
and I really, really, absolutely adore what Dave Broom wrote. I was lucky enough. He's such a busy man, and I feel so. I I really don't like asking for favors, but it's not for me. This is for other people. So I said,
Yep.
how are you fixed? Could you write a little Christmassy article for us? And he's like, didn't even, I think it took like 48 seconds. And he's just emailed me straight back. And he did it
Yep.
in a couple of days. And he talks about they are true ambassadors of Scotland. And those are the people by your shoulder. We're out with our workmates. We're out with our friends. The people by your shoulder, serving you water, wine, whiskey, whatever. Those are the people that we have to support. And we've all worked there. I mean, I have worked in the industry. It's not the best paid.
Yep.
And he says something, one of his quotes in his piece, you must read it, by the way, read it and share it, please do. And one of his quotes is that everyone benefits. I like that. Everyone
I did this week.
benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Ben for benevolent, but that's right. You put it in. If anybody's interested, what Jenny's referring to there is on Dramface, on the news page on Dramface today. So anything that we're talking about, whether it's the auction, whether it's the fundraising link, whether it's the Dave Broom piece, or whether it's just an overview of the article, it's all on that news thing. It's all in one place at dramface.co.uk under the news section. So if you're looking for anything tonight, even if you're picking it up after the event and you don't see the links that's going into the live chat, you can go into there on Dramface and it'll take you straight through to the donations page and to the fantastic auction. I was drooling looking at some of there's a Paul Lanois cask, Ardnamurchan cask, Jenny, but I noticed the bottle is a 1 of 1.
Yeah. So this is, I mean, this is the beauty with, obviously that might have been me pulling some strings. I asked the guys at the distillery if they could go out and decide which was the nicest cask that is coming up for maturation for the next batch. And it took them about 2 milliseconds. If they have to try whiskey for work purposes, they drop everything else and they do it. So we had 2 stillmen and a warehouse man deciding that this was the one that was going to go into the auction. So it is a 1 of 1. It's I can't remember the cask number now, but it's one of our Paul Lanois from 2016, and it's phenomenal. It's the dram I was sipping the last time I was on, and they did a great job. So it's a handwritten label. It doesn't look as professional as some of the other stuff that's in the auction, but it is, I can guarantee you, it's one of the best drams. Like the Paul Lanois single cask that we released in the little tasting pack when we first launched was very popular. I'd say this one is better than that one. But I also want to highlight some of the other lots. I mean, we have 56 lots, and some of them are, if you like, bog standard, but they're still donations and they'll still raise a great amount of money for the event. So we have a whole range of different art bags in there, which is fantastic because it's nice dram. But it doesn't have, we're not talking like, because I wouldn't maybe buy whiskey on an auction normally, but I just want to say that there are some whiskeys that are going to be available for not a lot of money for you as a customer.
It's a widespread. There are super exclusive things. There are things that's going to get a lot of attention and a lot of bidding and but there's also some more pedestrian lots and things like that people might be interested in. Absolutely, I get it. Yep.
My friends at Glenfarclas pulled one. Oh my, they've done a whole lot. The label, it's the one of one for the ambassadors auction. It's a 26-year-old Glenfarclas. It looks amazing, absolutely amazing. So I'm so chuffed. They've been so generous. Like everyone has been so generous, and Elixir always gives a beautiful bottle of whiskey. They were also not giving enough time to do something super special because they have special stuff, but they gave us 3 fantastic lots that are still very cool. And there is like a 28-year-old Port Askeig, and there is a 25-year-old malts of Speyside. The beautiful Jim Zedi family people, they have written this book. So it's the whiskey
Distilleries
distilleries
of Great Britain and Ireland between 1922 and 29 or something. Yes,
it was 100 years ago, exactly. So
Yeah.
what they did, they kept the 100th edition of their book beside. They kept it for a special occasion. So when I contacted them, Leon was like, "Oh, this is the occasion. You're going to auction our 100th edition of this book." And he also donated a bottle of 15-year-old Colila, which is bottle number 2 out of 311, I think, to go with that book.
Fantastic.
And there's
the book itself, I don't know if the book is still available for sale. Have you seen inside that book, Jenny?
Yes, I might even have drooled in it because
I mean, it's time warp stuff. It's very, very. You just fall down a hole of kind of slipping into the past. So that's a super donation to have.
There is also want to mention there's a couple of. I mean, obviously we're in it, or the American, but we've got like Daft Mel, Francis. Francis, excuse me, would you? No problem. So he sent a bottle, a beautiful, and you see the color of it. Not that we're obsessed with color, but I'm just saying that color is phenomenal. And door knocking.
Well, we're obsessed with color as long as we know that it's natural, and we can obsess about it. Then, right? I mean, it doesn't.
Okay, you're right. You're right. Yeah. Right. And there's a fun thing in as well. I really think it's great fun. It's the 4.5-liter bottle of Ben Menno 12-year-old.
I saw that. And it comes in a caddy because it's a 4.5-liter bottle. I think in Dave Broom's articles, he suggested a large gathering in order to enjoy that one.
Why not? I mean, why not like a barfly gathering? Why don't you all just put money together and get
4.5 liters? That's right.
It's phenomenal. It's so funky. I love it. No, there is a whole load of beautiful donations, and I know I might be pie in the sky. I'd love to raise 20,000, but I don't know. We'll wait and see. The beauty with this time of the year is that the whiskey auctioneer, who I have to highlight, have done this for free. Like they are they have been so supportive throughout this whole process, and they're doing this without taking any money for it. There's actually a bottle of rum as well, but it wasn't allowed in this auction, so it's in the next auction in January. Just should highlight that as well. But basically, they have they recommended not to have any when you don't have a limit on the bids, what do you call that again?
Reserve.
Reserve, thank you. There's no reserves on them, so everything, all the donations go straight to the Ben as well. That they don't take any charges for anything. So
it's amazing, and I think that give whiskey people an opportunity to raise money for a good cause. Mix in some good whiskies, mix in some good spirit and sharing and things like that, and it just happens. Jenny, from what I can see, I think it's a reasonable target, and I hope that you
help
blow
me
it
spread
apart.
the word.
I really do. Listen, I'm going to keep that link up for a little while at least, but when that link disappears tonight, please don't worry about it, because if you go to Dramface, and I'm sure that there's other places that's going to be sharing this throughout social feeds and everywhere else, if you go to Dramface, it just gives you that hard anchor point of being able to click, whether it's the Just Giving page, you want to have a nosy at the auction, you want to understand a wee bit more about what it's all about, go to the news section on Dramface. It's the Ambassadors auction for the Ben, and you'll find it all there.
I should highlight that it's open until the 9th of January, and it closes on the 9th of January. So we get an extra week.
It's open now today. It started today.
Yeah.
Perfect timing, and it runs right through to the 9th. So we've got at least 2 weeks, right, to work it out. Now, I know that some of the things will hopefully, actually, it's kind of funny when it's an auctions for charity, you want to see the prices going high. But it's just a regular auction, you want bargains, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll all do very, very well. But I hope that there's going to be some interesting picks and things in there for people generally. And
Yeah,
all
there's
that we
some
can
fine
do as
books as well.
barflies is we can either bid for the things that we want, and if we can't bid and there's nothing, please share it on the social feeds and know that not a penny of this is going anywhere else
No,
than
it's all going
Ben.
straight to the bin.
Jenny,
And I
you're a
just want to highlight, I am on, I visit the beneficiary, so I see where the money goes, and I also see when they decide that this person doesn't need more money. So I've been part of that decision making. So I want to make sure that we know the money is going to the right place.
Jenny, I don't doubt for a second. I can't imagine a better, if we talk about the ambassadors auction, I honestly can't imagine a better ambassador than Jenny Karlsson to be charging this thing as well. It's fantastic, your enthusiasm. You know, you just enjoy being in the whiskey sphere anyway, but I think you also enjoy helping other folk, Jenny, and that
Yeah.
comes across. Listen, you're also under a wee bit of pressure tonight because you do have a cold. I can hear it in your voice.
Yeah, sorry.
And yet you said to me, you sent a message, I'm no well, I've got a cold, but I still want to do this blind challenge.
Yeah.
And so you've got a pack in front of you. Are you struggling with it?
I thought it was quite easy when I did it. I did it about 2 hours ago, and then I went back there as we had the pre-chat, and I kind of, the first two slots have swapped now. So
Have you locked in your favourites then with
I
that
have looked
spot?
them in sticker wise, but I haven't sent them to Menno yet. Should I send them to Menno on the
No,
chat?
you tell me now, and I'll do yours now while I've got you here, Jenny.
Okay.
And what we're going to do, by the way, everything that we're doing, Menno's working away in the background, is we're going to show everybody, as I mentioned earlier, so don't worry about it. But Jenny, give me your colours.
Orange for one.
Oh, we've got orange for one. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it.
Red for two.
Good.
Green for three.
Green comes in at number 3.
And blue is 4.
And yellow is 5.
Yeah. The Swedish colours at the end, or the Ukrainian colours at the end.
So Ukrainian or Swedish, and that's not intentional at all. Right, so I've got you orange, red, green, blue, yellow.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I actually had red first, but I swapped them over there because I think I needed a bit more of a for my cold.
Red. I want to look. I've got the bottles here off to the left, but I'm not going to turn around and remind myself what the colours are. I'm not playing along. I can't legitimately play. I know what the whiskies are, but I'm still trying to play along as well. Red.
I'm trying to figure out the thread throughout and what they have that brings them together.
Oh, but it's good, eh? It's good. The trouble is, Jenny, I'll be honest, I have not given you a bad whiskey. I've given you 5 excellent whiskies. So to get you to even commit to an order, and I don't doubt that throughout tonight, as you're playing the challenges and things, it's going to change. But we lock
Yeah.
it in at the start because it's the first pass. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And then later throughout tonight, you're going to see me. I'll reveal live what the challenges are. And Jenny, if you can stay with us till then, play along, throw in your challenges, see how you go on. You know the drill. You've done it before, right?
Yeah, I have. Yeah. Okay.
Aye,
I'm up for that. Yeah.
Maybe we'll get you along to a live one of these days, and we can have you. It's
Yeah.
great fun. Jenny, I wish you all the very, very best. If you think that myself or anybody, any of the barflies here, the beautiful whiskey folk, can help you in any way, just shout out. So even if we can't bid, or if we can't donate, if things are tight, just get on your socials and share it. Draw attention to other folk, anybody that you think might be interested in that auction or donating to people that, by the very nature of the job and the career that they pursue, can often be a very low paid job. And yet we still demand that they are knowledgeable, welcoming, polite ambassadors, not just for a particular business or a particular drink, but probably an area, a country even. And when you think about that, we know that the frontline people in hospitality are often, like so many other people out there, often underpaid. The fact that people are out there with their back, Jenny Karlsson, is quite amazing. Thank you so much.
I want to say thank you to you because you jumped as soon as I asked. You were straight in there to help. So thank you, Roy, and all your
Well, my only regret is that we had a perfect bottle there that came up when Sevi and Gregor were here, the bookers, and Tom Elmer had gifted that to me, and we suggested, why don't we donate that? But we're too late for it. But what we've said we'll do is we'll sign that bottle and put it through a regular auction. I'll obviously tell people when that's happening, and somebody can pick up a really difficult to get, in the UK at least, Booker's bourbon. And then whatever that raises, we'll put that forward and we'll donate that to directly as well. So we're still there. We're still doing it, even though we didn't have a bottle. Jenny, I'd help you in these kind of things anytime you need it. Of course I would. Thank you so much. Are you able to hang about for the evening?
Oh, I've got another dram in my glass as well, so I've got
Well, you're
plenty.
dressed for the occasion, certainly. Jenny
Yeah,
Karlsson, it's always brilliant to have you. Thank you so much.
pleasure.
Very best of luck. And I'll see you in a wee bit, Jenny. Thank you. Terrific stuff. So the link's up there just now. It's in the live chat. Oops, talking of which, I need to bring up the live chat. I've missed a dram from Jimmy. People and me are asking for the link for the auction. Jimmy, yes. If you go to Dramface, the link is the overview, the Dave Broom piece, the link to the auction, a link to the Just Giving page. It's all in Dramface. So rather than me just kind of sharing lots of different little pieces of information, we built a Dramface news story earlier today. Just go there and you can click directly in. But right now, the donation link is live at the top of the page until I need to start sharing the documents for the blind challenge and things in a few minutes' time. Anyway, if you've got the blind whiskies in front of you, if you're participating tonight, make sure you tag Multi-Mission Menno in the live chat. Tell him what your favourite is to least favourite. I know how hard that is. Don't beat yourself up about it. Just make a decision. Just commit, because these are all fantastic whiskies that you have in front of you. Just put in what your favourite to least favourite is. There's no banana skins, booby traps. There's nothing. There's no shade going to be shown here. All of these are good whiskies. And in fact, I will tell you that some of the whiskies that I'm sharing with you tonight are donations to me from the community. So rather than me just sit and selfishly sip them on my own, put them in a blind challenge. I've tasted these and thought, these are fantastic. People need to taste these. So I've put them in a blind challenge. There's one or two in here as well, some things that have come to me recently as well. And selfishly, I thought that it fitted the theme, so I popped it in there too. So it's not all of that, but some of them are community donations. And what better way than for me to get them into glasses, wherever you are, and get you enjoying them and participating too. We've got most picks, Roy. Only Graeme and Peter, who's working late. Well, that's fine. I knew that when I gave Denise and Peter these sets, I wanted to give it to them because of how tireless they've been as busy little Barflies community members this year. So I put together a set for each of them, Peter and Denise, and I didn't know that they were able to commit to being here tonight. So it's not on their shoulders to be here, so they can come in at any point and do that, and we will. Let's have a wee look then how we're getting on. We'll wait for Graeme to get his in then. And then once, Menno, if you can, any of the names that are in and locked in, if you can highlight them as green text. When I see most of that green, I'll do a wee screen share and everybody can see it. And then we'll start to share the links for the challenges and things like that throughout tonight. So we get a bit of interactive things going too. Good for Menno. I can see he's working away. I love these collaborative cloud documents. Wonderful stuff. All right. So I think we're in good shape. What I'm going to do, I'm going to get my next guest in. But I went out to our patrons and I asked patrons to commit to their whiskey of the year because I'm telling you, it's a very, very difficult thing to do. And I got some things in. Now, let's see how many of these comments that I read out to you have been able to commit to just one whiskey of the year. The reason that this is gold, the reason I want to share this out is that this is a very bi-directional thing. It's not just me telling you what my picks for 2022 are. This is the community. This is them. That's what they say is their whiskies that they've connected with them. And the budgets and the picks are all over the place, but you might recognise some patterns. Alistair Gray's saying my whiskey of the year 2022 was the Thompson Brothers Blended Scotch Whisky 6-year-old, one I've mentioned here before. Outstanding flavour and outstanding value, close second. So he's already gone in, close second. It's hard to just commit to one. Close second would be the Wee Mongrel Batch 2, a 19-year-old from Little Brown Dog Spirits. And third is a single cask Loch Lomond. He's obviously talking about the WOTY one. Also the quickest bottle to finish as well for me too. Next year is going to be an interesting one. Energy tariffs going from the fixed rate to variable and all of this. So he's reflecting on the things that we're going to be talking about potentially next week too, is how much that's going to affect all of our whiskey consumption. Alistair Gray picking a Thompson Brothers. Lee Hosey's up next with a Thompson Brothers SRV5. That's a blended malt as opposed to the blended Scotch. An 8-year-old this time. I've been going through a phase where I had lost interest in whiskey, says Lee Hosey, because of moving house and fishing, taking up more time and money. But I was in Glasgow and picked up a bottle from the Good Spirits Co. The first dram pulled me back into taking an interest in whiskey again. Lee, I'm so glad to have you back here again, but I know what it's like. And if the mood takes us, take a break from whiskey, walk away from it. It's always going to be waiting there for you to come back again. If you're not feeling it, and if you feel like you're just drinking it for the sake of drinking it, step away. It's the best thing that you can do. Refresh things. And if it calls you again, you'll be back there and you just pick it up again. Lee, it's brilliant to have you back, and it's great that you've picked up that Thompson Brothers. Again, £40 for that was no, £35, I think it was, somewhere in that order. 8-year-old blended malt. It's going to be wonderful to see how it transitions over time. Menno Multi-Mission, who's in tonight, he's saying, I'm starting to become puzzled because he said there are mysterious packages being delivered to my front door with a clear "do not open until vPub night" warning on it. I'll just have to put on my big boy pants, he says, and face the music. Listen, don't worry, Menno. That's a safe package. And I know that you're here tonight, and we're going to get to open that live tonight and see what's in your package. It's not from me, I've already declared, but it's a wonderful thing from a certain person. Tim Hoekstra is in, and he says, or he commented, he said, for me, it's the Campbelltown Loch. It's available to me, affordable, and just my kind of style. Notice the pattern. These are blends and blended malts so far. Affordable is taking precedent over our single malt bottle chase, right? Fabio Cavallero, my whiskey of the year is Lechick, Sinclair Rioja, and Compass Box Orchard House. Two good value, very strong value propositions there. One's a blended malt and one's a non-age statement entry-level Lechick Sinclair series that we've all been struck with. Drew Lane is saying, at the risk of being labelled a miserable brown noser, my answer to an informal whiskey of the year discussion is this week during Jim's live stream. I caught Jim's malt samples. I was listening to it in the background. I was doing other things, and I saw that you were on there, Drew. It was marvellous to see you hanging out with Jim and other Kent faces over there. He said, was your Loch Lomond release, Roy? I have admittedly been a big fanboy of Ardnamurchan this year, but many are from last year's releases, and several are bunched so close together in terms of enjoyment, your bottling just rose above them. And Rob Papa C is saying, I would think a whiskey of the year must not necessarily be relatively available and doesn't require taking out a loan to pay for a bottle. With that, my whiskey of the year is Bladnoch 11. Quite a surprise and a tasty one at that I can find on the shelf, local to me, $63. Really great dram, and looking forward to the vPub. I'll keep reading out these tonight because you will see a pattern. Anyway, let's jump in, see how badly are we doing for time. What time are we at? Not too bad, are we? Aye, we're a wee bit late. I imagine we might get a wee bit later. We've got a wee surprise guest in tonight. I reached out to this guest and I said, hey, yeah, of course. Just let me know what I need to do. And he's more than happy to jump in and hang out with us. Of course, I'm reaching out across the Irish Sea to our friend in the WOTY, who's sitting there with some drams in front of him. I can see that. Let's welcome in Ralfy, my friend.
Hello, Roy. They arrived.
Good evening. Oh, are you participating tonight? Are you playing along?
Yes. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Listen, I can see you're completely shocked at my social interaction. Highly uncharacteristic, but I thought with all the effort that you've put into sending these across to me, and the fact that they only arrived about 5 hours ago, I thought, well, I tell you what, I won't have to pour one of my own drams tonight. I'll have one of Roy's. And
well,
we can raise
I'll make a confession. I abused the fact that recently, because of the projects that we've been involved in, you've been forced to disclose what point in the Irish Sea you actually live at, so I can get a package delivered to you now. Now, normally I would never do that without letting you know first, but you'd already suggested you were coming on tonight, so I was going to mail things off to the rest of the folk anyway, and I sent one to you, fully in the knowledge that it might not make it over the Irish Sea because of all the postal issues we're having right now. But bottle shock notwithstanding, the fact that it's only arrived 5 hours ago, it made it there. I hope you enjoy them, Ralfy. I hope you enjoy just sipping along.
I'll tell you what, even with it coming up to Christmas, the season of goodwill, ho, 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 I thought I'd give all the malt mates and barflies a laugh by participating in a Menno quiz.
Well, we've got a special treat for you then.
Have you? An easy quiz.
Well, I'm hoping that it's been, let's say, seasonally appropriate, but I have no control over it tonight. Menno has been doing the Menno quiz, and he's become legendary as being this really, really tricky, as you know, this quizmaster. Yes. Well, Menno is stepping up tonight to take some of his own medicine because Whiskey with Molly Ben is taking the Christmas quiz tonight. He's our host tonight. So everybody, we're all happy to do this because we can't dish out medicine and not take some of our own medicine, right? That's what it's about.
That's very, very true. And I'm
so excited that you're sipping along as well. It's going to be nice to get your feedback a wee bit later too.
Absolutely, I've got it all noted down. I've had a wee taste, neat. Then I've added a drop of water, plenty of time nosing, seeing how it's evolving, and I've got a wee kind of preference list sorted, which I can't disclose at the moment.
Of course, of course.
I'll send it off on your feed, right?
Well, do you, and I can take yours now if you like. I can just pop in yours.
Right, if you want to do that. By the way, before we go any further, because it's a seasonal thingy, I thought I'd make a special effort, Roy.
Oh my goodness. Oh, there you go, showing us up as well. Everybody that's turned up. I just put a couple of lights in the background. I put a wee Santa outfit and one of my bottles up there, and you're actually literally dressing yourself up.
I'm not saying, Roy, that at this moment in time you look like the Grinch, because you're not green enough for that. But you must have got some tinsel from somewhere you could just put around your neck.
I'm just not making an effort. I think that's it. I'm just not making enough effort. And if Ralfy tells me I need to make more effort, then I need to make more effort.
Well, yeah. Just, I mean, but we've got to move on. You know, I'll give you the results if you're interested.
Go for it. What have you committed to then?
Rightio. My number 5 spot goes to yellow.
So last place yellow, and when we say last place, we don't mean last as in, we mean it's it's often quite hard to put something in 5th place, right? Continue then.
I was just being a lot more brutal as I usually am. You know,
that's fine. That's why you're here, Ralfy.
In a highly commendable 4th place is orange.
Good.
And in 3rd place is green.
Good.
2nd place is red.
Oh, so blue takes the plaudits.
It's that peaty thing that's going on in there that's got a little bit of maturity to it.
I think it's a good one, Ralfy. Like I say, we haven't got, in my opinion, we don't have a bad whiskey here tonight. But Menno, what I've done there is I've added Ralfy's dots in there. I've managed to do that as we did as live, so it's already covered, buddy. So that's it. And Ralfy, I have to ask you though. Jimmy Legg has given me a rousing miserable failure at Christmas cheer. If I'm getting scolded by Ralfy and Jimmy Legg, I know that I'm not making enough effort. I feel like running out and grabbing that hat that's too wee for my head and sticking it on before the end of the stream. Ralfy, I made a point at the start of the stream tonight. I mean, you and I can reflect and we can talk about 2022 for us was another quite big and very, very busy year. But generally, I made a point that when it comes to choice, variety, making our way in the field of whiskey today, it's just never been so varied, so multicolored, so fantastic in terms of choice. Would you agree, or what would be your synopsis, if you like, of 2022?
My synopsis is that 2022 has been the post-pandemic year to a certain extent of many people returning to a relative normality, and the industry at the same time, collectively, globally, the distilling industry saying, you know, there's a possibility that we could face difficulties in the future at short notice, and therefore quality matters. And we're in that moment in time because it was the lockdown that triggered me and you having a long conversation about the Oswis.
Yeah.
And although we didn't really go into much of it at the time, one of the foundational thoughts as to having an original, useful, value, quality sharing portal that the Oswis are is that in 1971, Roy, a group of 5 friends met in a bar somewhere in Ireland, and they founded a small volunteers type club called CAMRA, the Campaign for Real Ale.
Yep.
And this was their response at the distress of discovering that the delightful, flavoursome and variety of beers and ales and other ciders, perries, and all the whole section of soft alcoholic beverages were being homogenized into these mega brands, such as Heineken, Foster's, and Tennent's, for example. And they started a newsletter, and it took a long time to get traction. But you look at the global beer industry now, it's utterly transformed. And although you've got the generic high branded products out there like Bud, for example, and Miller Lite, you know, the enthusiasm and the passion is well and truly for quality, because the quality with which we engage with in life helps to define the quality of our lives in return. And all the malt mates and barflies will testify to this, that there is so much more texture and richness above and beyond flavour when you're not just down at the local bar chugging whatever's the special offer on tap, but when
Ralfy, sometimes I'm amazed. What you say is absolutely spot on. Sometimes I'm amazed, but I have to look back at my own journey as well. There was a point in time that I had to make the conscious decision or the realization of the difference between just drinking to tasting. And as you say, it goes beyond flavor. We chase flavor, we really, really do, but it goes beyond that because it becomes about texture. It becomes about how the everything interacts. We want to use all of our senses to enjoy this thing. And we find ourselves, because of that chasing quality, sometimes that takes us up in ABV and all of these things. But the higher in ABV we go, the more we're able to slow down and get more flavor, more texture, more out of the experience. And we find, incidentally, we don't even need to consciously slow down. We just find ourselves naturally slowing down and enjoying the sensory experience more than that concept of just drinking. It's interesting you talk about mega brands and things. There's a place for all of these mass market products. They're all there to do a thing, but they will be better at whatever they do, the better the quality is. You've always, when you approached me about the Oswas, your word was quality, quality, quality. That was the focus, and we tried to come up with the best way we possibly could to mirror a wee bit what we're doing tonight, Ralfy. Honestly, it's not just Ralfy's opinion, Roy's opinion, and a few others out there. The community opinion too. This is not Ralfy selling whiskey, Roy selling whiskey. This is not us. This is us getting together as a part of a community, so that anybody stepping in to the groundswell of new interest that's coming into whiskey has a place to go where they have a decent, huge 5,000 people participated, Ralfy, in 2022.
And over 26,000 people have viewed the award ceremony.
That's right, just 6 or 7 weeks ago. I can't remember yet.
It's not that long ago. How time flies. I know you're a busy chap. It was the 5th of November. It was bonfire night. It was the fireworks were going off.
Remember, of course.
The Oswas, the vPub, the malt, the WOTY, you know, and all the other contributors who are empowering the sharing of information online. See, it never existed in 1971 for camera. The internet didn't exist then. But just when we need it, the internet exists for us and becomes quite simply, it's not just an informational opportunity. It's very much a sharing, participating, and empowering. And fundamentally, what people really want at the end of the day is to walk into a shop or go online and buy a whiskey with a relative handle on the quality of it in relation to the price.
Yep.
Because the amount of options now is unbelievable. It's unprecedented, and it's never happened historically. And as you mentioned recently in one of your own lives in vPubs, 70 new distilleries in Scotland alone?
And this century, yeah, since the year 2000.
Yeah.
If all the planning goes ahead and the financing goes ahead, I counted 72 distilleries. What's amazing is that there's one or two more come to light since I did that vPub. It's incredible and it's difficult to keep up. But this is, as we talked about when Angus was on last week, we talked about this being a wonderful thing, especially if you're an enthusiast, a drinker, the more variety that we have, because the scale of these new distilleries are tiny, tiny, tiny in comparison to the big, long-established producers that's been out there since, I don't know, early in the 20th century and a bit way into the 19th and 18th centuries, right? These are relatively big, and it's wonderful to see. I'm excited about 2023 though for a different reason, Ralfy, because you have made some quite significant statements in 2022 about how you're going to change your, what I thought was an appropriate response to the dynamics that happened, let's say 6 or 7 years ago, when you made the decision that you were fed up spending your money on non-age stated whiskies. You weren't getting the quality, so you were going to take your leave of them. But now you've come in 2022, you've talked about, you started to hint at it, because in late 2021, you did a review of Glen Scotia Victoriana because you were enjoying it, and you put it into an extras video. But this year, you've made a statement that next year, you're going to be looking at new distilleries. You're going to be looking at non-age statement. You're going to be looking at things that are representing this shift in whiskey enjoyment, whiskey perception. That starts in New Year, doesn't it?
It does, and there's two reasons for it, Roy. You're absolutely right that not that long ago, non-age statement whiskies were simply young whiskey at older whiskey prices, which was a general perception. But that has shifted in that, along with the blended malt field of offerings, we're looking at 2023 from our perspective as the year of better value, because everybody's been talking about the fact that literally overnight, Diageo doubled the price of Talisker 18-year-old from 85 to 170, or even more.
Yep.
And in which industry, which consumer products would you literally double the price overnight just before an international recession? A very interesting decision, very polarizing, but it makes me re-examine the quality of the more modest non-age statement whiskies coming out from new distilleries and established distilleries, which for the price represent good quality. And it's one thing that I don't do. I don't review the 25, 30, 40, something in a fancy box that's, selling cars and, all that gubbins. That's a whole different scene, and good luck to them. If it works for them, I'm happy for them. But there's another reason for reviewing non-age statement whiskies, and that is I'm noticing that some official bottlings that generally tend to be chill filtered and have that little bit burnt sugar added for colorant.
Sure.
What used to taste, a 12-year-old age statement 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you could taste the 12 years. Now, with quite a number of them, it tastes more like 10 years or even 9 years. And people are noticing this when they're buying older versions of the same brand at auction. And difficult if you're in the USA because you don't have, auctions available for purely political reasons. It's pure politics, no other reason. If it was a commercial decision, it'd be a no-brainer. There's a huge demand out there for it, but it's political. But things, they are what they are, Roy. And I would conclude by saying that the value is important, and also introducing the new distilleries as and when they arrive, giving some idea of their signature and identity, because much of the feedback I get for the more obscure bottles that I review, the independent bottlings, the single cask bottlings, many people say, I can't buy that where I am, right? And that's a very legitimate concern, because there's too little actually produced in terms of volume to be distributed globally because of all the distribution costs, hassle and red tape. But at least online, you can have a point of reference so that in a few years, 1, 2, 3 years, when some distilleries expand, when suddenly the product does become available as in the export market to a more global audience, then people can go straight online when they see the bottle in the shop, and they will find at least one review ready waiting for them.
Absolutely spot on. Just the fact that we can't get it now or today, it might happen in the future, or just the fact that it's maybe something that you'll never have, but you still need a kind of maybe a vicarious or some intelligence, some insight, some knowledge on it in order to help you make decisions in the future. I'll never forget a discussion I had with Connell at Ardnamurchan, and we were talking about the fact that Ardnamurchan was actually starting to stick on the shelf. You could walk into a retailer and pick up a bottle off the shelf because they were relentlessly trying to make sure that people could buy their whiskey. Yeah. And I was talking to Connell, and Connell was excited that the stuff was on the shelf. And that was strange to me, because I'm like, why is somebody excited that their stuff's not selling out? Because to him, that's the cue for him being able to get it into new markets. Because he's getting people in the States, Asia, Southern Hemisphere. He's getting people all over the globe saying everybody's banging on about Ardnamurchan and I can't buy it yet. But as soon as it sticks on the shelf in the markets that he's supporting, he can start to extend into other markets. Super important thing.
Yeah, I think also to add to just what you're saying is that you now have a new generation of importers who are not just importing a few obvious mainstream brands, but they're recognizing that if they become the go-to importer for the particular country for these small volume and rarer whiskies, then they can mentor more loyalty from the distilleries, and also they can take to their customers these obscure ones, these less well-known brands, and particularly at specialist tastings and whiskey bourbon festivals, then people can get acquainted with them for the first time. And people love the novelty. When you've got a new label, a new distillery, first thing people want to do is just try it, even if they don't buy it.
I think that's right. It's the excitement. It's the variation. It's why we love whiskey. It's why we chase flavour. We want to try these new experiences. Ralfy, fantastic. I can't tell you how excited I am that you're here with us tonight. I can't tell you how excited that the idea that you're staying, looking forward to the quiz at the end, that you've got the blind whiskies in front of you, all of it. More than anything, Ralfy, thank you for tuning in and watching the occasional vPub too. It means a hell of a lot to me that you would take the time to do that. Can you stay around till the end, my friend?
I can, yes. I think you had a particularly interesting interview with Angus, because Angus is quite a dry character, and he's a very interesting, by the way, a very, very talented writer.
The reason I got to know Angus McRail was through Ralfy videos back in the day. I'm going back a decade now, probably, but that's how I came across. No, it was you. You were. I don't even know the auction house he was working at, but you remember the old vintage Ralfy videos from 2012, 2013. Yeah. You were interviewing Angus McRail.
Yeah, I was. Yep. Yeah, I think it was either McTears or that one at Finiston that I forget. By the way, have you given my multi-mission details?
Yes.
Lovely. Just checking.
No, you're locked in. So I'm going to tell you at some point in the very near future, in fact, probably right now, because I think Menno will have everyone locked in, I can share what the challenges are. And you can work away in the background and try and work out what the challenges are. But at this point, it's just pure fun, Ralfy. There's at least 3 whiskies here tonight, I think, that probably you've not even approached or seen or held a bottle in your hands before. That's probably how obscure some of these whiskies are. But there's a point I want to make, and it will reinforce the point that you, my friend, have already made. Ralfy, fantastic to have you hanging about. Thank you so much. I can't wait to have you participating throughout the stream tonight. It's a special treat for me. Thank you for your trust. See you in a wee bit, my friend.
See you in a wee bit.
Just terrific. Absolutely terrific to have him in here tonight. And I guarantee you the Ralfy effect will mean that if I look at the analytics after tonight and throughout the weeks ahead, that the point that Ralfy's appearing is going to be the point that has the most views. It's the Ralfy effect. It's what it is. That man has been, it doesn't matter what you think of Ralfy, how critical he can be, how brutal in his own words he can be occasionally. It doesn't matter what his opinion is. It doesn't matter what he's saying. Consider 12 or 13 years now, coming up in 13 years, what he's done to make Scotch whisky accessible for thousands and thousands and thousands of people. I cannot tell you the amount of people that say, Roy, I discovered your channel through Ralfy. That's what he's doing for WhiskyTube. That's what he's doing for whisky generally, with all his opinions and all his experience, all his videos that he's put out over the years. It's also what he's doing for the country. We'll never forget, we'll always be very, very grateful to somebody in 2009 being brave enough to step up in front of a camera and do what Ralfy did. The fact that he's still doing it 12 and 13 years later is a treat for all of us. I hope you're all doing very well. I hope you're enjoying it tonight. It's time to get on with these challenges. I need to reveal to you what the challenges are. Let me just remind everybody, if you're tuning in tonight, we have 12 or 13 people, including Ralfy, which is a fantastic bonus, working away in the background on 5 blind whiskies. Whiskies, 3 of which have been donated to me from the community and 2 of which I've put in of my own selection. It's not a test for anyone. It's just a bit of fun. And it's a perfect way for me to share those donations from the community out with so many other people as well and let them try whiskies that otherwise they might not get a chance to try. And me to have a wee bit of fun as well. But there is a thread, there is a theme about the whiskies I've sent out tonight. It's the vPub, it's the Aqua VT Blind Challenge. There's always got to be a theme, right? Jimmy Legacy and I discovered why I love whiskey because of Ralfy Aqua VT. That's Jimmy Leg. He's declared it before. He's mentioned it before. Is that sitting down and hearing Ralfy talk about whiskey, you can start to hear some of the things. You're like, can he really taste all these things? Cardamom, is he tasting cardamom? And then one day you're sitting quietly in a pub drinking a glass of whiskey and you taste cardamom from your glass of whiskey. And you think, oh my goodness, it's not smoke and mirrors. This is real. It's a very real thing. It was so accessible, the video format as well. Tommy Elmer is saying, do you remember Ralfy's masterclass videos? Tom, I've been watching Ralfy I didn't watch him from the beginning. I came to WhiskyTube when Ralfy was already very well established. But I did go back and binge lots of his early videos as well. Tom, it's wonderful to see you in, buddy. It's great to have you here. Okay, let's get these challenges out the way. I'll tell you what they are. Tell everybody what the 5 challenges are live tonight. So if you've got your little scorecard, you've obviously moved everything onto your ranking card, and it might mean that your scorecard with your notes on it, you can flip it around and it gives you a spot to write in here the challenges I'm just about to tell you. Once you've written them in, you have a wee think, and then you can then get your coloured dots and apply your coloured dots alongside in the wee dedicated circles. And that's you locked in. It's you trying to solve what the challenges are. And I'm going to tell you right now what those challenges are. I'll do this. The best way to do this is probably with a screen share, but throughout tonight, maybe start to drop in links and things like that so that you can actually see what's being enjoyed. And even the people that aren't sitting with whiskies in front of them tonight, the blind challenge, you're able to participate in some way because you can see how cheeky I have been. Anyway, let's pull in this screen share here, and I'll tell you what the challenges are. 5 challenges. These are ridiculous, but it's fun. Write these down. If you have one of these wee scorecards, you have to firstly find a 2-year-old Israeli malt whiskey. 2 years old. A 2-year-old Israeli malt. That's all I'm telling you. Next challenge, find a 6-year-old American single malt. Then Scotland comes into the picture with a 7-year-old Highlander. Then I'm asking you to find an 18-year-old Highlander. Some interesting comments from Ralfy there when he was live. And finally, a peated Canadian. Now, you'd think that a peated Canadian whiskey is going to stand out like a naked man with his hair on fire, but it might be trickier than you imagine. I imagine that most of you have been around whiskey long enough that you've got actually a good chance of working out what that is. There are no banana skins or asshats here tonight. It's all interesting whiskies that I'm trying to share with you. I'm looking at Scotty Monroe and his little thumbnail down the bottom shaking his head and potentially just out of shot shaking a fist at me as well. He's having a laugh at me. Okay, so we're looking for a 2-year-old Israeli malt, a 6-year-old American malt, a 7-year-old Highlander. I'll also tell you that it is a single malt Scotch whisky as well, the 7-year-old Highlander. And the 18-year-old Highlander is also a single malt Scotch whisky. And finally, peated Canadian, 2-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, 18-year-old, and a peated Canadian. If anybody needs that, what I'm going to do is I'll drop in that same slide into the set of slides that Menno is working on. And that'll mean that if anybody needs a reminder or anything, they can reach out to Menno and he'll be able to sort you out. So I'll drop that in here. That's the challenges slide dropped in, Menno. And what we can also do is, Menno, if you go File, Share, Publish to the web, that gives you a link that you can copy and you can share it in the chat as well for anybody that wants to see the progress as we go on throughout the night. Let's have a wee look at the whiskey scores. So let's see how the whiskies are doing so far through another wee screen share with the slideshow that Menno is working on in the background. And I can tell you how these whiskies are doing just to see if there's any patterns coming up so far. This is everybody, apart from Peter Lee, who's still working. He'll come back a wee bit later and add in his, so don't look at his scores at all right now. But it's all over the place. That's wonderful. The only pattern that I'm seeing right now is that green is falling to the back end. Graeme is charging for the green. He loves the green. He's put it first tonight. But generally speaking, most people putting green to the back in their 5th place. There is a very, very clear reason to me why that's happening, and I think I'm going to talk about that a wee bit later. It's a phenomenon, and I'm so interested to see it happening here. Orange is spread all over the place. Yellow's doing quite well, although it is spread all over the place. A couple of people putting it right up front. Red is very, very strong, and I would say just by me glancing over this, I think it's between red and blue as to which of the two of those are actually doing best throughout tonight. Red and blue seem to be the strongest ones there. Quite interesting. Now remember, as we go through a blind challenge, we often, as the night goes on, we change our minds very, very quickly. Let's jump into, grab a couple of comments from you guys before I bring in my next guest that's going to come along and share a whiskey in a whiskey moment. You pull up the comments again. So many things to juggle, but it's wonderful to see you all participating. Savar Bjornfjornsson is saying, send me a dram. Do you know that's the problem, Savar, is these blind challenges. I was literally putting them in people's hands, meeting them in the pub and saying, you're free, you're available. Here, take this blind challenge. I was sending it within the UK in wee plastic bottles and packages and to people that I knew that I had met, Kent faces, we say. I knew that these were people that could take this legitimately. I am not sending alcohol, whiskey samples out to anybody that I don't know. I can't vouch for any of that stuff. Brexit made it very, very, very difficult for that to happen. I used to do it in the past, but sending alcohol outside of the UK now, forget about the Brexit thing. Think about the time that it would take, the awkwardness that now takes. It used to be that I could get things to Belgium as quickly as I could get it to Ireland or even the south of England. It was literally in the same week. Those days are gone, unfortunately. So these blind challenges, I hope that all of you, and I find ways for more of you to participate in the future. Maybe planning has got a lot to do with that. If I planned a wee bit earlier, I could get it. As I met people throughout the year, I could say, this is a Christmas challenge, here you go. However, some of these whiskies have come to my horizon in the last few days. It's incredible. But Savar, if there are ways for me to involve more people in the future, I would. That's why I'm not leading with this tonight, because I realise that vicarious enjoyment has very little value. Whiskey Games, Matt Bishop, you star, Matt. Thanks for a great 2022, Roy, and the chance to chat in person in Glasgow. Looking forward to meeting more barflies in person this next year. Merry Christmas all. Merry Christmas to you, Matt and Day. Thank you very much for your dram, and it was a pleasure for me to finally meet you. It's crazy that it took us so long to actually meet each other, right, Matt? But there we go. I hope that that's going to have the opportunity to do more of that in the future. And Karlsson saying, my whiskey of the year definitely is the Ben Menno, Germany exclusive, 2011, 2020. So bottled 2011, bottled 2022. Distilled 2011, a 48% release. It's just got everything. Great distillate character, bourbon, sherry influence, and a touch of smoke. Loving it. That is exactly what Ben Menno is known for. Fantastically flavoured whiskey. Donation to the Ben on the way to, Roy, says Matt Bishop. Thank you so much for your generosity. Listen, if anybody's donating to the Ben, let each other know. Just put a note in there just saying, this one's from the Barflies. This one's from however you want to refer to yourself. Just put it in there. Make sure you don't do it anonymously like I did, because I missed the little thing you put in the message. But there's another donation to come in from me as well as the Booker's bourbon bottle. I can't ask all of you guys to consider donating unless I'm willing to step up myself, and I very much am. Gordon Fraser is saying my whiskey of the year is. Hold it. Not yet. Not yet. I know exactly what you're going to say, my friend. Whiskey 101. Nick, so good to see you. I used to love the packaged beard oil arriving in Belgium. Damn customs rules, blah, blah, blah. I know, Nick, it's just the way it is. Those days are tricky for me now, especially as the profile becomes higher as well. I have to behave. I have to do things legally, and I have to do things responsibly. Glenn Duncan is saying, just asking Santa to bring me a Speyside, wrapped or unwrapped. I care not a jot. Oh, and is it a Speyside? And is it a Speyside? Fantastic, Glenn Duncan. Thank you very much. It's good to see you. And I know what time of day it is over where you are in Australia. Tom is saying, I can vouch for the difficulty of getting whiskey from England. It took Royal Mail close to 4 months to get me one of your bottles. Not their fault. It was customs. And Tom, did you get it? I hope you got it in the end, my friend. Please let me know. Cheers. Okay, let's see how we're doing. So many windows open tonight. So many plates spinning, but that's okay. It's a party after all. Let's reach out to the next person. What I wanted to do was reach out to somebody who should have been here a couple of weeks ago, but he was poorly. So now another blind challenge coming along. Surely, are you free? Are you available to step in? He always he's more than willing to step up, and that's my friend Scott Monroe. Tonight he's representing himself and of course Dramface. But if you're ready, Scotty, I'll bring you in now, my friend. Hey, he's here and in good health, I hope.
Yes, I'm fine, thank you, Roy. Thanks for inviting me on, mate.
Terrific. I'd always love to have you here. Your presence, as we talked about at length 2 weeks ago, and lots of times since, was very much felt. Was missed. Sorry, when you couldn't make it with Gregor and I. But honestly, Scotty, if it wasn't for your poor health, I would have said it's for the better, because you saw how messy that was without you. It just got a lot worse if you were here. So
part of me thought, obviously, I still, my taste wasn't fully back a couple of weeks ago. And obviously I really wanted to come along, and I said to you, I just couldn't make it. I wanted to see, obviously, Gregor as well, being across from Portland. And but yeah, looking at the aftermath, I'm kind of glad I didn't make it. So I'd probably, because I think if I had come along, I'd probably still be there. Gregor would have missed his flight. Sevi would be under the table, and all your bottles would be gone. So it's probably just as well.
And it would have been a successful event then, wouldn't it?
Absolutely,
it would have just been perfect. I mean, it was just, it was, you sometimes you do those kind of vPubs and you think, this is very self-indulgent. It's about us and it's about a certain thing. But what we're actually doing is we're kind of celebrating what whiskey can offer everyone. If that's our choice, we don't need to step into the environments. We don't need to connect with people. We can just make it a very selfish, self-indulgent thing and sit and enjoy whiskey in our own. That's fine. But I think for a lot of people, you touch upon it a lot. We talk about, the friendship thing. We talk about the mental health aspect. We talk about it's good to connect with people that you don't need to try and solve life's challenges with. You can just relax and restore your faith in humanity over a nice dram of whiskey. You and I have talked about that at length.
Yeah, very
much. I think
so.
we've both benefited out the community over the years, right?
Yeah, it's very important. I think that link onto my kind of whiskey moment of the year. But yeah, absolutely. I think it's we've always said it that whiskey did this. Whiskey fades in the background when you're with good company. It doesn't matter what you're drinking. And yeah, the mental health thing we went through. Everyone's been through a tough couple of years, you know, and it's good to hang out and chat. This community, you know, during lockdown and stuff like that, kept us all going, you know, something to look forward to. And
I mean, lockdown's one thing. There will be other challenges that come in the future, whether it's helping each other spend a wee bit less, helping each other find what the treats are and things like that. But even if we're just drinking a bottle of something average, getting together can elevate that whole thing. You mentioned there that you had a whiskey moment of the year. You've got one for us. That's amazing.
There's been several in 2022. It's been quite a year for whiskey.
Perfect.
There's been festivals, there's been get-togethers, there's been club nights, tasting exceptional drams. There's been a certain trip to Campbelltown and Isla. But yeah, my whiskey moment was one that I think maybe a lot of people can relate to. Was the return of the Whiskey Festival, and that was back in February. The Glasgow Whiskey Festival made its comeback, and that was the first time we'd all been together after lockdown. You know, a little bit of trepidation about going, but what a tonic it was to see yourself, see all the guys, you know. People had come from all over Europe to come there, and just seeing some friendly faces, some great friends as well. So although there was some amazing moments, and you know, Isla and Campbelltown was very special to me, you know, live long in the memory with Rolf and Doc and Rob and Craig and Sevy and Greg and everybody. It was that thing, that meeting up again in 2022 at a festival, and I'm sure a lot of people in the chat, that'll have been a similar kind of story to tell, you know. And that sharing of drams, chatting away, conversations, everything kind of fell away. And, you know, we were all sick of video Zoom calls and stuff like that, to actually sit side by side and share drams and laughs. And it was brilliant. And so there's been so many good moments in 2022 for whiskey. But that one to me kind of encapsulates what the community is about. And it's about enjoying drams with fellow enthusiasts and just forgetting about everything else and just having a great day out, you know. So that
one caught me out as well. The festival back in February, the festival that's just gone in November was amazing. But everybody wanted it to be amazing. We were all there, and this is going to be it. This was the real one. The February one was still kind of semi-tentative, like you say, the nervousness before we went. But when we arrived there was this palpable sense of everybody having that realization, oh my goodness, we needed this. We were ready for this. We really wanted this to be a thing again. And I remember just the fun of it. I remember just us all letting our hair down. You know, obviously some of us, we still have a bit of hair to let down.
No, much. You see the back of it. I was going to say about that, you know, I mean, I'm not very festive either, obviously. Black shirt, but you know, once a goth, you know what I mean? There's
fantastic.
On, you know, so but yeah.
Goth Grinch.
I'm not really a Grinch about it, but I was also quite a happy goth. But yeah, black still kicks out, you know, so it's all good.
Fantastic. Listen, buddy, you're here I did collar you for this, and I apologise, but you know, not just your whiskey. And if you've got a whiskey of the year or anything like that you want to share, of course you're welcome to. But you're also here because in 2022 brought us a brand new platform, and I know I keep banging on about it, but it's not going to happen every week. But Dramface came along in 2022. I'm super chuffed about what we've achieved. I couldn't have imagined it going as well as it has been. And I know that a lot of comments that we get back, it feels people seem to have woven it into their daily kind of habit. They feel like Dramface has been around forever, but that actually only kicked off in February. How's it going, Scotty?
It's going really well, Groy. It's it seems it's crazy to me that it only started this year. You know, it was. We're talking about obviously the tail end of last year and about launching the site and things. But it's incredible, you know, when I think for me, as you know, it's a real team effort from all the work that you put in, the writers put in, the social media, everybody, the guys behind the actual website design, you know, everybody. But I think when you look over it, you know, I was looking at over some stuff this afternoon. The fact that we've got just over 250 reviews on Dramface in that length of time, 19 features, and of course the podcast, which I think the podcast is a thing which is
a surprise thing, right?
Totally surprised, you know. And what I love about the podcast is the fact that when you listen to it, you don't know who's going to be on it. there are regular voices, but there's guests coming in all the time, and people who've got something to say, and that just keeps it fresh.
And how many people step into the podcast and say, I am such and such, and I am from here, and I do this, and here's my, and no, you're just getting a name.
Yeah,
it's just a name. That's all it is.
That's it, and it's been great fun to do, and it's just a riot.
How often do we know what the topic is before we join Gregor?
We don't. We just kind of pencil in.
Never get a clue what he's going.
We pencil in dates and times, and then we all get together. Usually, me being obviously at a certain age, there's usually a technical problem. Mics don't work. Something's not right. But yeah, and we just chat, and I think that it's funny, you know, like the Scotch for Dummies boys always have said that we want to present something to you like you're at our bar, you're sitting with us having a dram. I think the Dramface podcast is like that. It's just friends and people getting together and just chatting whiskey, and obviously a lot of nonsense as well. You know, there's times that we veer off into just utter nonsense, which is great because it keeps it fun, and that's what whiskey should be, and that is fun, and that just adds to, you know, there's also a serious side of me, but we should always remember that it should be fun, and but it's just friends.
You were poorly when we were recording the Christmas episodes.
Yeah,
'tis the season, and we wish you a messy Christmas. You were poorly, and by the way, the podcasts 15 'tis the season went out this week. Saturday, the members get it early, but Saturday it's public on Saturday on Christmas Eve. Our final Christmas one, our second Christmas one goes out. And again, once more, Scotty, I think that if you'd have been there, you would have held it in check a wee bit more. You would have been able to keep things on the rails a wee bit more. I don't know. But at the same time, I also think that you'd have got caught up and just let it get a bit loose and messy too. I think that, again, you were missed. But it shows, as the point you've made, people just turn up. Nobody knows who's going to be on. Nobody seems to mind. Nobody minds that they weren't involved. They're going to be in the next one, or going to be one in the future, things like that. That churn, that kind of that. And I think, can we just raise a glass to Gregor McQueen?
Brilliant.
Because the boy just does. You know, he's not got any pedigree there at all, but I could see that he had a way of his thinking, and it's just he glues it together.
He does.
He's just great at right. He always uses words like segue and pivot and circle round. It betrays the way his mind is working to keep that thing on track.
Gregor's very switched on, and what I love about Gregor, well, I love many things about Gregor. He's a top bloke, but I love the way things can start going off the rails. But what Gregor does is there is no kind of schedule. There's nothing really. We haven't discussed what we're going to talk about. But what Gregor does, when he's sharp as a tack, he'll latch on to something someone said, and he'll turn it around and you know, ask a question about that point. And just keeps it fresh and exciting as well. Because, you know, I think if we were to work to some sort of script, it would be kind of dry, just a wee bit boring.
No script.
But Gregor, yeah.
When we're inviting guests, let's raise a wee glass to McQueen. Thank you, Gregor.
Thanks, Gregor.
People get a wee bit scared. They're like, "Oh, okay, I'd be up for recording with you. That's amazing. What's the topic? No topic. Oh, because the worst thing you just want it to be like this, just a discussion. Absolutely.
Yeah, and also just talking about Dramface, I just want to give a massive shout out to the writers, the contributions they've made, because we're getting copy in from people in different stages of their whiskey journey, whatever you want to call it, their experiences, and it's just great to see. There's a diverse cast of characters. I think there's something for everybody in Dramface. You might lean towards one writer over another, but I just think that
they're all over Canada, Australia, America, all over the UK, Scotland,
and they're relentless. Like, they're just constantly filling the inbox with copy. You know, it just keeps flooding in. You know, which is great,
and that's coming from the sub-editor, right, Scotty? Is that you know, it's you have to read. All the copy that comes through your hands, you have to read it, so you know the quality of the content, you know the different perspectives that we're getting there, and I think that's one of the things that we need to embrace going forward. And I think that's one of the things that makes us unique. To have somebody that's into whiskey for 2 years and 20 years in the same space is just that. I think that's
I think
people can relate to it.
Yeah, I think it was interesting for me as well. I mean, I've been drinking whiskey just for a decade now, so it's not that long. but some writers who drink for a couple of years, but they are much more switched on, and know so much more than I did back when I started drinking as well.
Yeah,
and that can only be a good thing as well, because it's just more education, and it's. But the writers,
they're proving to us every day. You learn something from everybody you meet and everybody you read. You can learn something. We're getting endorsement here from Jimmy Legg. The writing at Dramface is far better than I could ever imagine, says Jimmy. The podcast is the shite.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Thanks, mate.
And let's raise a wee glass to that writing team. Amazing stuff.
Yep, fantastic.
I'm going to raise a glass before I let you off the hook, buddy. To you. You came to me wanting to do your own project, and I pitched Dramface to you, and you just jumped on board. That wasn't fair of me. We're a year in now, and at any point you need to step off the train, you step off the train. But for me, every minute that I've had you, for every hour, for every piece of copy that you've sub-edited for me, for everything that you've contributed, and sometimes it's just positive words and support, Scotty. Thanks to you. Thank you, my friend. Cheers.
Thank you, Roy. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Cheers.
It means so much, because I know that you would tell me when I got it wrong or back to front, right?
Of course I would, but yeah, I mean, it was just one of those things. The stars were aligned. I wanted to continue my old project again, and it just so happened that we talked about before. The night I wanted to mention it to you, you had this idea about Dramface in your head, and it was like asking each other on a date. It was kind of this kind of awkwardness.
How are you trying to
this? So, but it's all worked out really well. I think next year's going to be even better. We've got almost a year under our belt. I don't think any of us could have foreseen where it, back in February, where it's got to. And again, go back to the podcast especially is just kind of taking us all by surprise. It was going to be a one-off introduction thing, and now people obviously are enjoying it. And so I think next year is going to be great as well.
I kind of keep Rob on the leash. He's Dramface 2.0 is his thing. He's got these ideas how he wants it. It's not going to be a revolution. It's just refinement and evolution. Things to enhance things where we can see that we can do things a bit better. Having Graeme on board and supporting us on the social media side, he's just going to elevate that right up, because we can't get everything right from the beginning. But we're taking it. And it's because of the support. It's because of the subscribers, the writing team, everybody that's come together just to say we need this, and this is a good thing. Let's continue to make it better as we go forward. And the amount of people that we're talking about on a daily basis, it's between 6 and 12. Over the course of the year, it's more than 24 people involved, right? It's amazing. It's just amazing. And I think you're staying for the session tonight, most of it?
Yes.
Superb. In that case, we'll have a wee bit more of our happy goth a bit later.
I might put my miserable face back on again and dye my hair black again before you see me next.
You can pretend to be as miserable as much as you like, son. I know better. Man. Scotty Monroe, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Roy.
Thank you.
Thank you, mate. Cheers.
Scotty, a sub-editor of Dramface, just all-round fantastic whiskey guy, Kilted Moose on social media channels. He's been on the vPub for longer than I care to even remember, but more than anything, somebody that I can call a friend. Fantastic stuff. Ebhead is saying the Dramface and amazing people behind it. He's raising a glass to Dramface and Scotty as well. Fastcrap is saying, I think I just opened my bottle of the year, a 43-year-old grain from Invergordon, distilled in 1972, Scotty Monroe's birth year. I hope I'm not telling tales out of school, so Scotty, I apologise. Which I got for my birthday this year. The neck pour is already incredible. Fantastic, Falsgraf. Fantastic stuff. Let's see. Now, from here on in, by the way, I've revealed the challenges for the blind. Everybody's working in the background. If they want to cheat and say they got it right, they can, but that doesn't happen. We know better than that. They've got the wee stickers here. It locks them in. They can't peel it off again. They write the thing in, and they're just going to reveal their scores a wee bit later, rather than me having gotten, a dozen people telling us how they're getting on. Hopefully, they're going to be feeding back to Menno, so that Menno can keep track. Just post it in here for posterity if you're playing along in the background. Type @multimission and tell us what you think the peated Canadian is, what you think the 2-year-old Israeli malt is, the 18-year-old Highlander, the 7-year-old Highlander. What else did we have? We had a 6-year-old American malt, I think. Is that correct? A 6-year-old American malt, 7-year-old Highlander, 18-year-old Highlander, Canadian, 2-year-old, and I feel like I'm missing one. What am I missing? And Canadian peated. I think I've covered it all, 5 of them. Throw it in there. Make sure that Menno can keep track of it. He's not going to be writing that down or anything. You're just going to be keeping your own scores. But if it's in here, it's locked in for posterity's sake. Rick Johnson has bought me a wee dram as well. Also supporting me as a barfly. Rick Johnson, thank you very, very much, my friend. Thank you for your dram. Cheers. Okay, so I think right about now, everybody wants to know, all of you guys watching wants to know what everybody's drinking in the background. So I'll ask the people that are participating not to look at the link that I'm just about to drop in. I'm going to show you, now that you've had time to play along with the challenges, I'm going to show you what they are. But what I'll do is I'll bring somebody in as I do that. What I'll do right now is I'll copy this and I'll paste it into that. And Menno, if you have the ability to click File, Share, Publish to the web, what we can do is put in a brand new slide here that tells everybody what we are sipping tonight. So what that'll do is anybody that wants to click on the link that Menno's going to drop in the live chat tonight. By the way, if you're watching on the replay, all of these links will be underneath. Don't worry about it. You'll be able to click and participate along at any pace that you want. But it lets them see. If you're playing along tonight, wait, and I'll share with you live what they are. But by all means, you can click in on the link. It doesn't really tell you anything that I'm not going to share with you tonight. What I'm going to do is reach out to another wee guest. I'm going to reach out to family. I'm going to reach out to my cousin, who I am going to, well, let's get him on and I'll give him a hard time while he's live. We had a wee bit of trouble with his audio earlier, so hopefully that's going to be working okay. I'm going to reach out to cousin Kevin. How are you, fella?
Hello. I'm good. How's the audio? Is it fine?
The audio is sounding glorious. We can hear you nice. We can hear you well. I'm going to, before I ask you anything, I'm going to make some claims.
I'm ready for it.
Your family, and I'm not talking about distant family, not family through marriage or anything like that. Literally family.
Yes.
I am also responsible for beating you over the head so hard with whiskey over the years that you are now smitten.
100% agreed. 100% agreed, yeah. You have made me the whiskey nut.
Have you found, when Ralfy was on earlier, we talked about it, have you found a distinction between, through me bullying you with alcohol, which is absurd, have you found the definition and the difference between drinking and tasting?
100%. 100%. I think it's a hard start because whiskey, well, the way that I teach it now is whenever I say to any friend is you never have your first ever whiskey and go, you take a sip and go, why have I never drank this before? You go, how can you even drink that? That's rocket fuel. That tastes like fire and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, yes, it does.
Give me time. Yeah.
But try this. This is peated and this is not. And then when you try something, you look at Lagavulin 16 is always a gateway. And I remember that night at yours back in probably 2015, 2016 time. I think I actually fell asleep at the table after it. But Lagavulin was a one for me that I remember going, this is also whiskey. This has a different taste, even though they're all made the exact same. And I think that's the gloriousness of it. And when you have a passion like yourself, it feeds through. And when you speak to people about it, so Baz, I've got Baz in it. He's the next one that's fell by the sword of Mr. Duff.
No. See, this is the thing, cousin Kevin. This is the thing. The minimum I expect from you, to be downstream of my kind of feeding you all those whiskies and experiences and the discussion was it wasn't a presentation, it was like an educational seminar or anything. It was just me giving you drinks that you enjoyed, and if we wanted to talk about specific drinks, we could talk about it. But over time, you learned a wee bit more. The minimum I expect is for you to go to your pals like Baz and anybody else and evangelize and pay it forward. What's happened as a bonus is now cousin Kevin is Kevin Grant on whiskey, and he has a YouTube channel. And you're doing your own whole kind of broadcasting, evangelizing out there to the world and things like that. If I asked you 5 years ago, or even back in 2015 when you were falling asleep at my table after too many Lagavulin 16s, could you have imagined? I said, you're going to love this so much that you will put yourself on camera talking about it. Is that absurd or not?
100%. It's probably the same as you when you know, I think a lot of people look at the side and go, oh, there's a passion there, and Ralfy's probably the same. No one ever thinks, I'm going to get in front of a camera on YouTube and start chatting to the random people of the world that I don't even know, because they've all got wee avatars on their faces. And then you look at the bigger picture years down the line, and you start seeing people, you start noticing people, and it's the community that builds it, and it's the passion that everyone else has, even though a lot of people don't have the same kind of drive and enthusiasm to it.
Yep.
It's the whole learning and the culture behind it all now, which I find is the most fascinating thing about whiskey. It's a whole... there's so many passionate people out there and involved in it, and there's not many... I don't know any whiskey drinkers that drink to just get drunk and get out of it. Everyone
it's a challenge, actually getting drunk, and the effects of whiskey. We're fighting it all the time. We're like, I'm enjoying this too much. I don't want to get pissed here. I want to just take it easy. I want to... It's a weird way of thinking about alcohol, and it's a way of thinking about the alcohol side of it is incidental. What we're actually compelled by is flavour, and like you quite rightly say, the people side of it, the people thing. Kevin, I'm going to thank you for something else as well, because all of that makes sense to me. You evangelising to your pals, even to the point that you would set up a YouTube channel. By the way, please, I'll ask anybody that's a moderator tonight to drop your link in the channel and say, but if anybody searches just for Kevin Grant on whiskey with no spaces,
they'll be majorly disappointed. Yes.
Yeah. No. They'll find you. And what they will also find, this is why you're here tonight. I need to thank you. You have worked out that it's more than a glass of booze. You've worked out that it's more than a flavour chase. More than something that you need to tell your pals about. You've worked out about what it is about people. You've started to step up now, and when people come into the country, you're like, aye, I'm here. Let's go out for a wee dram. Let's meet up. Let's do the things. That is marvellous to see. And then they feed back to me how much of a gentleman you are, how much of a star you are, how considerate and how kind you are. And I get choked up because you're family. This is absurd that these kind of things can be happening, but they're happening. And I'm grateful for it, and I'm grateful to you. So I'll raise a wee glass to Kevin at Kevin Grant on Whiskey. Thank you for your evangelism. Thank you for stepping up on YouTube, and thank you for looking after the folk that come here chasing the flavour. Cheers, Kevin.
Thanks, buddy.
Right, now that that's out the way, before I
think I know where we're going for here now. Yep.
No. I'm not going to challenge you anything. I'm going to reveal while you're live. I'm going to just bring out what the whiskies are.
Right.
And people can start to do the final part of this and do the semi-blind matchup. But I'm going to ask you. I know what your whiskey of the year is. A very, very interesting and cool pick, because you picked a 100% malted whiskey put through a column still for Loch Lomond that sold for less than £30. An everyman whiskey that everybody can go out and buy. Absolutely. A fantastic pick, and one that's going to be even more interesting for 2023 as everyone's purse strings become a little bit tighter. They see single grain on that label. They need to understand through whiskey knowledge from anybody that possesses that knowledge. It's incumbent on them to share it politely and when it's appropriate. But that's not a single grain. That is actually a malt whiskey. But because it's been made in a certain way, which is super interesting in itself, it has to be called a single grain. Brian Cabayas is in. So good to welcome you, Brian. He's saying, 10:30 a.m. Australia time. Merry Christmas, Roy, Dramface team, the barflies and all the whiskey folk. I'll catch the replay after work. Slant you and all the very best. Brian, thank you for stopping by and buying us a wee dram. And Savar is saying, your Christmas whiskey. What and why? That is coming next week, Savar, my friend. But thank you for the dram. If you can hold on for another week, next week will all be about that, buddy. Cheers to you. So that is a very interesting pick. Have you got a whiskey moment? And I'm not going to haul you over the coals. I already slow clapped you out of the room at the barfly gathering. Sometimes it does catch up with us a wee bit when we tried a wee bit too hard to enjoy it. What's your whiskey moment of 2022, Kevin?
It's so tough. I think it's been such an amazing year, all in all, because the last 2 years of not meeting up. It's been about
release.
The online community and things. So being there, and you know, Scotty touched on it earlier on about the February tasting. Everyone was still a little bit edgy and maybe not enjoying the festival as much as they wanted. And then the first day at the 15th of November one, or the November the festival, was everyone was buzzing. There was such an amazing ambience of everything going on. There was no one there going, "Oh, I don't like this." It's free again. We're all free. Everyone's happy. There's nothing going on. And I think being there and meeting the likes of like Drew Lane coming all the way over, Drew from AZ all the way from Arizona to enjoy something like that. And
for a weekend, might be
exactly unbelievable. But it's one of these things that I hang about everyone. Then you just go on your own track, and you could go to a whiskey festival yourself because everyone's there for the same thing, and you will meet people you've never met before and become lifelong friends. It's not a pub where you can walk in and people stare at you and you feel awkward and you need to leave. I found it so welcoming from every kind of walk of life. And at one point, probably the whiskey moment that kind of stands out was trying a 26-year-old Ben Nevis from North Star, a duty paid sample with Charles McLean. He was sitting there having at the same time. We were just sitting and going over this and thinking, this is nuts. And I'd had a few drams at that point, but it still stood out as the dram of the day, and it just knocked me off my feet, and you couldn't buy it. And I think it was just going from there to going out for food, and Craig organising the bus and everyone on the bus having an amazing time, and there was no one sitting beside them. There was no one themselves. Everyone was sitting beside someone just enjoying it. So I think that full day was just you kind of sit back and feel a bit proud that we know all these people. Everyone's there for the same thing, and we get to enjoy what they get to enjoy. We get lucky because I get to see you kind of whenever. We get lots of whiskey pubs in Scotland. You look at America and Canada, sometimes it can be difficult. And there's just more buzz there because everyone's just like, this is it. This is amazing.
That's right. And the more that we get everybody to work out, that as that swells and it's more and more people, the only thing that's required is for them to welcome the new people in with the same welcome that they got, and everybody benefits from it as well. I have to say that if I had a nice 26-year-old Ben Nevis sipping alongside Charlie McLean at the Glasgow Whisky Festival, that could be one of my whiskey moments of 2022 as well, buddy. I have to say it's a good one.
There's that, and then a wee side cat would be probably winning the blind challenge at the Aqua Vitae on Sunday. I'll give that as my...
Okay, who would you like to thank for winning the blind challenge? Team
Mr.
Captain,
Bill,
Whiskey Disciple Bill, Alfie Robinson, who managed to knock it out of the park with a 10 out of 10, because somebody turning up with a hangover so they could only smell and make notes and not actually participate in whiskey, naming no names, to suddenly brag about winning.
I was involved in... I think I got 3 out of 5. I had one back to front.
You turned up. You did a shift. The job was done. You
took a medal and left. That was it. But no, it's just been a great. I think it's a year all in all for whiskey. It's been unbelievable. When you look at all the new distilleries coming up, it's just meeting all these faces, and I'm more than happy to meet everyone again. And that's why I asked Julie, "Are you going to do a February festival?" And she's like, "No." So I'm going to keep.
We just need to wait until November. So the date isn't out yet, but is the date out yet? I'm not sure. But regardless, we know it's going to be in November 2023, and we can't wait. It's going to become quicker than we might imagine.
Yeah.
I'm going to share what these whiskies are. Kevin, have you got any gut feeling? Have you got anything that stood out to you?
I think
what did you pick as your favourite?
So my favourite at first was the yellow was number 1, and the red. They were my first 2, and the last was green. So when you put all these out, I had no idea that it would be this all over the place. But this is the fun part about it. I love this because it's...
Well, I mean, it's
fascinating.
I'm not really challenging anybody's knowledge here, because what I'm actually trying to do is make people consider a wee bit more about what's actually happening faster than we might imagine in the whiskey landscape. Let me start by 1. Yeah, you first put... what did you choose as your favourite? Sorry, what colour?
So my favourite was the yellow.
Okay. So we can't even talk about colours anyway, so it matters not. But let's start one at a time. There's no way you've tried this whiskey. You might have heard of it only because I might have held it up in a vPub before. But this is a gift from Reb Mordechai. This is the challenge I'm asking you to find an Israeli whiskey, but this is 2 years old. 2 years old. The only clues that you've got on this label here, I have to be very careful not to disclose the colour, it's on the top. This is a single cask, peated single malt from Israel. This is their Solemn Sessile Oak version at 46.3% ABV. By the way, I think that 46.3% ABV is not diluted. They talk about an Angel's Share drop of 18%. I don't think they're talking about 18% by volume. I think they're talking about 18% by ABV, which might make sense in the climate there. So what we've got in front of us, Kevin, we can't even call whiskey in the UK. They can't sell it here as whiskey. But you have a 2-year-old whiskey in front of you. Is that standing out? Is that making itself obvious in the lineup?
Absolutely not. There's nothing making itself obvious in this lineup, bar. The only thing that's obvious is there's 5 of them. That's about it.
Let me show you another one as well. This is a non-age statement. And this is, they're calling it Rye Explorations. This is another donation from the community. This time from Graeme Young. Yeah. Maybe I need to tip it that way so that you can see it a bit better. But this is the Lot 40 Rye Explorations number 1. What's really interesting about this one is that it's cask strength, peated 100% rye whiskey from Canada. It's a non-age statement product, but 55.5% ABV, 17 months and 150 litre first fill peated single malt casks. So I think what they're doing here is they're taking their rye and they're putting it into peated casks. So they're not only just experimenting with rye, they're experimenting with rye and peated casks as well. When I opened this and tried it, I was like, my goodness. But it's in here for a very specific reason, because I fully believe that rye is one of the hardest flavour profiles for a Scotch whisky drinker to engage with. And I think that that's a shame, because there are rye whiskies out there, but it's like anything in whiskey, bold anything, peated anything, super rich, super extreme in any direction. You only need a few drams to understand it better, and you start to explore it and understand it even more. And I think that that's the challenge that rye has to a Scotch drinker, of course. It's in here for a very specific reason tonight. I'll continue. So we've got a 2-year-old Israeli whiskey, and we've got a Canadian peated rye. Incredible. I've got one here from Chung. This was brought over to me as a mixed, amongst other things. But we've also got an American peated whiskey here. This is a 6-year-old West Coast USA. This is from Hood River. This is Clear Creek Distillery, of course. They make McCarthy's, but this is a 6-year-old. It's got an age statement on it here. 6-year-old American malt whiskey, 50% ABV. But they are actually, it's not peated casks, it's actually peated malt whiskey that's going into this American malt whiskey.
I give up.
I know, right? So you can see the thread, you can see the theme, but these are being donated to me from the community, so there's nothing better I can think to do than share it with all of you guys as well. Then we move into, I struggle to think of, this is probably absurdly the least peated tonight, potentially. This is something that I opened only just over a week ago, and I've shared it out with all of you. I poured everybody. This is a Equinox and Solstice from Decadent Drinks. This is the one I opened when I was with Angus last week. This is 7-year-old Scotch whiskey. 7 years old. Angus's favoured bottling strength of 48.5% ABV. This is one he dilutes. He's also released one as well at 57.1, 100 proof as well. But this is their Equinox and Solstice series, which is their they're trying to make things a bit more accessible. It's still expensive. It's £75, but I was pretty blown away. Nothing I am sharing with you is bargain whiskey tonight, by the way. Some of it, of course, is unobtainium, but I'm very curious because it represents a lot of dynamics that's happening in whiskey globally right now. And finally, another Scotch. The 18-year-old Highlander is, of course,
okay.
Ledaig 18. Ledaig 18. This has come of age. This has come of age now. I really believe that it has. Now, the days of these kind of volatile Tobermories that have kind of gone try before you buy type stuff, I think so many people are cottoning on to how good Ledaig and Tobermory can be from independent bottlers. But now the official bottlings are coming in, hitting stronger than they ever have. The Electric 10 and the Electric 18 both were nominated in Online Scotch Whisky Awards this year. That was what prompted me to reconnect with Electric 18, something that I tried in the past. This is a different proposition now. Is it me that's changed? Is it the whiskey that's changed? Is it a bit of both? I don't know. Stick it in a blind challenge for the community, see how you got on. So that's your 7-year-old malt whiskey in the Ben Nevis from Decadent Drinks, and the 18-year-old Highlander and the Electric 18 as well. Feeling confident, Kevin? I can see that in your face.
Oh, it's I won't even show them because I've won it. We'll just leave it at that. We'll not put them in the chat. We'll just
right.
That's
Let's raise a wee glass, buddy, and I'll let you go away and beaver away in the background and try and match it up. You can just disclose to Menno what your scores are a wee bit later by tagging him in the chat. And it's gone out of focus. Cheers, buddy. Thank you so much.
Cheers, Roy.
Best of luck with everything, and thanks for helping me in 2022, my friend. Take care.
Whenever you need me. Cheers.
Stay along, hang around to the end. Cheers. Cousin Kevin. Obviously from the handsome side of the family too. MJ Rodden is saying my whiskey of the year has to be Electric 18-year-old, but the Mortlach 25-year-old currently in my glass I saved for years to open for a special occasion is always going to be hard to beat. It's just when you think this is it, something else comes along. That's when you realise we're being spoiled in whiskey right now. And Menno's saying some strong consensus from our participants on this one at least. Fantastic, Menno. It's going to be good to get your feedback in a second. I realise how long it's going to be tonight. We're almost at the 2-hour mark and I've still got another couple of people to welcome in, but I want to do this tonight. I want to get these people in. Firstly, what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring 2 people in at the same time here almost, but bring one in first. And earlier in the year when we did the Irish whiskey focus back in March, and I know how cheesy it is to just focus on Irish whiskey in March, but my comfort zone is Scotch, so it needs something that's kind of obvious. But the vPub fell on St. Patrick's Day in March, and it would have been absurd to talk about anything other than Irish whiskey, and we did that. But we had Ben, originally from Northern Ireland, Whiskey with Molly, step forward and said, hey, you want me to put together an Irish whiskey quiz? That happened, and we brought Menno in as well. Menno participated in that as well as some other people from the community. And he offered to do the same for the Christmas quiz this year. And that was too tempting for me. I'm quite happy to step up and take some of my own quiz medicine from time to time from Menno, of course. But isn't it nice if I can get Ben to host a quiz? I take my quiz medicine from Ben and then invite Menno on in order for him to take some of his own asshat medicine as well. I don't know what the quiz is like, but let's reach out to Ben, Whiskey with Molly, and ask if he's softballed it for us or not tonight. Ben, my friend. Oh, glass in the air. Fantastic. Right on cue. Superb. And dressed for the occasion as well. Did you notice all the Grinch from Ralfy's in his uniform? Kevin's not dressed up. Scotty's in his happy goth black shirt outfit. You're making the effort. You're up there with Jenny Karlsson. Ralfy made the effort by putting the lights on as well.
I made the effort, Roy. You know, when you're on the vPub, you gotta make the effort, but apparently not.
Apologies. Like I say, there are some fairy lights up. I do have my wee Santa up, although he's just out of shot. I think I would need to kind of prove there my wee Santa's there. That's about okay, yes. I've heard, you're not the first person to tell me I need to do better in the future. You enjoyed yourself in March hosting the Irish whiskey quiz, clearly, because I did not bully you into doing this, which I'm not adverse to doing, by the way, but you offered to do this.
Yeah, not at all. I've been a lockdown whiskey person, and the vPub and the online community have been amazing in the last 2.5 years of my life. They've really been. I know we can all go to the pub now, and we've all been at the pot still, and we've all at Bon Accord, but I'm definitely not out in the pub as much as I used to be. So this online community has been absolutely superb, and I've said to you in the past, people put things in my diary at late on a Thursday night, and I go, I can't. Sorry, I've got the vPub. It's just how it is.
Fantastic. But the great thing is that it's okay for you to not to be here. It's okay for you to pick up on the replay. I really don't mind. But the idea that it's like so many folk are saying that just Thursday nights, and I have to say it's quite fortunate for me that Thursday nights there seems to be less competition about. It's not a Friday or a Saturday or whatever, that people are quite happy to give up their Thursday nights. And for that, I'm really, really grateful, because what you say, the words that you say, I'm not actually sitting here saying, that's good. I'm actually realizing that it's the way I feel about it too. The fact that I host it is incidental, because for me, especially in those really difficult times that we'll always talk about for the years ahead, what became so important. It changed from being twice a month to twice a week, and now it's a weekly thing.
I actually think it's a marriage saver, Roy. I mean, when I was young.
Okay,
no, hang on. When I was younger, I was like, right, Tuesday night, I'm going out with my mates and we're meeting in this pub or whatever. Now on a Thursday night, my wife goes to bed and I sit in the sofa and have a chat with all my mates and drink whiskey. It's like she loves it.
Still not hanging out with your wife. But
of course. She's in bed. She's in bed at this time. But the point is, I'm not out. I'm here with my mates.
Thankful for small mercies and all of that thing, absolutely. And I think that certainly I've found ways to enjoy being inside my own home as well, and it's through technology and through doing that very thing. And I did at the start. I think I did benefit out of the fact that I was around and we could be together a lot more. But then I took on Dramface and other projects and things like that, and now I'm starting to get the side eye a wee bit, and I do have to be a wee bit careful. Balance is the crucial part of it, and it's really tricky. Sid Martin's shouting from the sides. I'm not even going to shout out what that is, because I feel like it would lead other people. Sid, I'm quite happy for you to put it in. You have to tell Menno, but it's going to be interesting to see if the consensus bleeds forward. Ben, we've been fortunate to hang out, to raise glasses together, to meet in real life as well. It's refreshing and wonderful to me when I meet folk like you that are good, solid people in the community, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, wherever it is, and then I meet you in real life, and you're a great, solid person in real life as well. The fact that you would commit time to step up and host things like this is just crazy and encouraging, and I'm very, very grateful for it as well. Thank you for your trust. I follow that up very quickly by saying, what have you done tonight? Is it asshattery or is it kindness?
Nah, I think it's pretty easy tonight, to be honest. It's a Christmas quiz, so I think
you're going to need to sell it to me better than that.
People will get their pass mark. Asshat's always an asshat.
Well, let's bring in the guy who's become famous for asshattery. The guy who took the concept originally. The whole asshat thing came from Jimmy Legg, who once I put up a very awkward, deliberately cumbersome question, and Jimmy Legg said, "This is just an asshat question," and it's stuck ever since. And now it's a feature of every single vPub quiz at the end. And then somebody came along to start hosting them, so I could have some of my own medicine, and he became Lord Asshat. Let's welcome in our friend from Belgium, shall we? Menno.
Hey. Good evening. Hey, Ben.
You're here.
I am.
You don't mind being referred to as Lord Asshat. You don't mind you've got the thickest skin I know, right? Every time I check in with you, Menno, you're taking a real brutal pounding from the community. Are you okay? And you're like, yep.
I don't care. As long as they don't have my address, I don't care.
I think I do have your address, man.
Damn.
But you also have to do what you're doing tonight. And then when somebody else steps up to do it, you take some of your own medicine and play along.
It's only
to be fair to you, you were already doing that before you stepped forward to host quizzes for me. So you already know the drill.
Yeah.
But I'm going to focus on you a wee bit as well, because a member of the community reached out to me recently and asked for something very specific. And he told me what it was for. And I said, that's a very cool thing. I'll give you this. And then he went quiet for a while, and then came back and said, the job is done. Can I send this? And I said, yes, here's how to send it. And you suddenly have something. Let's call it a Christmas gift, not from me, but from one of our community. I don't know at what point I can declare who it's from, but you've kept that sealed, haven't you?
I have.
In that case, Menno, your instruction was to open it live.
Yep. If
You up
it's
for it?
Yeah. I mean, if it's
Okay.
anthrax, I can't even blame them. So,
Ben, I wish there was a way to keep us on screen, but I'm going to focus fully on Menno tonight as he opens this thing up. I have yet to see what this thing is, so I'm just as curious as everyone else.
Oh, there's a card. There's a card. There's a card before the present.
Molasses Mike is saying multi-mission
No.
endures the countless pins I stick in his voodoo doll, so he
No.
must have thick skin.
no white powder so far.
No anthrax. Falsgraf is saying we just love our asshat king. Is it something to read out, or is it?
Oh, do we need the present
yeah.
before the letter?
Read it. Just read it. Go for it.
Okay, your contributions to the vPub have not gone unnoticed. The whiskey elves and barflies were impressed with your ability to stifle even the most seasoned veterans inside and outside the barfly community. A hard skill to master. Many have come to dread a Menno quiz, but not everyone. For some, it's a path forward to knowledge and wisdom on their whiskey journey. I'll take that. Albeit with a healthy dose of statistical cheekiness at the final question. Fair enough. As a token of my appreciation and to thank you, I've sent the elves on a multi-Christmas mission. They have looked all across the land to find you a suitable present to reward you for your efforts, and I think they have done it. To many more magical memories and friendships that we may meet up and enjoy the journey together. Slanjava, you can go ahead and open your present. All right,
Absolutely.
cheers.
Perfect. Is that sent anonymously? Was that signed?
Santa.
My goodness. I think don't worry, Menno, we'll call him out. We'll tell everyone exactly who that is. Let's get this opened up. That was quite emotional there.
Yep. I hope this doesn't make too much of a noise. Okay.
I hope you don't have anything sharp on hand.
Apart from my wit, you mean?
Brilliant.
Perfect.
Okay, what's this then?
Okay, tenemos aquí. What do we have here?
Oh, this is so cool.
Oh.
This is so cool.
Hey! We have the asshat hat.
The asshat goes on the asshat.
This was from Tim Hoekstra. Tim is in the Netherlands. I feel like he's in the Netherlands.
Yep.
Sorry, Tim. The last time I said that is Nicholas is saying it
Brilliant.
is literally the asshat.
Absolutely brilliant. Cheers, Tim.
He's got the asshat emoji on the hat and he's wearing the hat. Fantastic. Tim, thank you so much. And thank you for giving our Menno a wonderful, wonderful gift to put in his head.
Brilliant, Tim.
Honestly, those words, the cover letter that you wrote there, just tremendous stuff. Tim, thank you so much. Look at the emoji in the chat now. Literally lit up with asshat emoji. So Menno, you don't even have a chance to don your asshat skills tonight. You have to sit with the rest of us. And
but now I have my protective helmet, so...
Ben, I'm going to speak to, just before we get right into the quiz at the end, I realise how long we're going tonight, but it's okay. It's the vPub and that's what it's all about. Drop you into the background, bring you in for the quiz at the end, because Menno's going to give us a wee summary, I hope, about how the blind challenge is going. I don't know how everybody's got on. We haven't given them a lot of time to do the semi-blind matchup. Menno, do you need a wee bit more time to do that?
Yeah. I think I only got sit so far, and then you called me in, so...
Perfect. In that case, I'll hang out with the beautiful whiskey folk in the lounge for a few minutes. I'll bring Ben in to host the quiz, and I'll bring you back in to tell us how the score... By the way, if anybody doesn't want to send their scores in, that's fine. It's absolutely fine. There's some people out there still trying to work it out or whatever. But I'll bring you back in and we can summarize how we've done. More importantly, I want to see if we can match up those blue and reds and work out what performed particularly strong tonight, right? Okay, buddy? I'll drop you in. I'll bring you back in 5 or 10 minutes.
Yep.
Thank you. I don't want to call him Lord Asshat, Ben. It's just, he's not. I know that He's one of the most beautiful people I've ever come across, and I've yet to shake his hand. It's crazy. It's nuts. But calling him Lord Asshat is too much. 5 minutes, Ben, and then you'll be. We'll let you. Well, you have to be kind. You have to be kind. It's Christmas. Tell us you were kind.
Yeah, no, I was kind. I've put my. The blinds were hard, Roy. I honestly, I was drinking them, and I was like, I think I'm quite happy actually. I thought three of them
There's
were
no such thing as a difficult blind challenge unless you're expected to know what the whiskies are. And the purpose of blind tasting whiskey is to make people comfortable with the concept of not understanding or knowing what the whiskey they're drinking is. It's such a varied drink. It's so complex. It's so tricky. It's based on palate and environment and moment and contrasting the whiskies that you're drinking against each other. The idea that you could know what these are, it's all just for fun, right?
Yeah, there's no idea I would know what they were, but I did think three of them were in Scotch, which is good.
Well, that's you. That's you on a good score. You've only got 2 or 3 minutes to lock it in.
Oh no, I've locked in. I've sent to Menno.
Perfect. Right. I'll see you in 2 minutes for the quiz.
Okay, cool.
Be gentle with us, Ben. Be gentle.
Easy.
Easy. There we go. Listen, I want to say thanks very much to Tim for even thinking about that wee gesture for Menno and writing that wee cover letter as well. It was just fantastic. Thank you, Tim. Cheers. And a huge cheers to Menno as well for being brave enough to step forward and participate in the quiz after all the asshattery that he's dished out over the months. Terrific stuff. Rican Haddix is in. A big bag of coal for Menno. No, it turned out to be much more terrific than that. You see all the asshats just lighting up the quiz. They're fantastic. Calm down, Roy. No hurry. That's Rolf reminded me it's the vPub. There's no such thing as rushing to the end. And Jimmy, it just jumped there as something must have come in there. It was a dram from Mash and Drum. Jason, my goodness. Cheers, Roy. Been a while. Happy Christmas to you and happy holidays to you and yours. Stay malty. That's Jason Calori over at the Mash and Drum, who's blown the doors off the thing over on his channel. A still majority focused on bourbon, but more and more, I'm sure, Jason, especially behind the scenes, you're being seduced by Scotch. I hope, my friend, the idea that you would drop in here and buy me a wee Christmas dram is a treat indeed. Cheers to you, Jason Calori at the Mash and Drum. Cheers, buddy. 2019 we met. It's been a long time, Jason. I hope you're doing very, very well. Terrific stuff. Peter Lee's saying, I've made it home. Peter, you've got a bit of a catching up to do. But if you don't watch this, or if you, let's say, try and do it again on the replay and try it sincerely, see how you got on. I don't know if Denise has been doing it while you were away. But I think you might have fun, and I think there's going to be a lot of eye-openers there as well. Erwin Laranaga is saying he's been a member for 30 months. What a great 30 months. Thank you, Roy Barflies. Thank you, Erwin. Thank you for being here so often. The reason I put these 5 whiskies tonight as well was to talk about what Ralfy and I touched on earlier in the vPub. The age statement, the whiskies that we have today, age statement is becoming less and less relevant. I've got a 2-year-old whiskey in here with a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old, and an 18-year-old, and a non-age statement, all in the lineup. The needle I've been able to thread here tonight is peated, and obviously things that have come to me through the community. 3 bottles out of the 5 tonight have been donated to me from you. The idea that I would need to rely on anybody in the industry for whiskey is ridiculous, because not only am I supported by you already through Patreon, for that never to be required, you also gift me things that I can never otherwise touch. So what better way to do than for me to bottle up and send it to people so that they can taste it too? A 2-year-old Israeli whiskey, a 6-year-old American whiskey, 100% rye peated cask, Canadian, lot 40. I mean, this thing, especially the cask strength releases, I mean, they're in huge, huge high demand. That one from Graeme Young, the 6-year-old peated American from Chung, and the Israeli 2-year-old from Reb Mordechai. Fantastic. The other 2 are bought by me out of my own curiosity, because I want to learn about it, to share it with you. A value proposition from Decadent Drinks, high-end stuff from the Decadent Drinks typically, but they've got a £75 pounds cask strength, and 48.5%, sorry, 75 pounds ones at 48.5% ABV release as well, something that a bit more accessible from Decadent Drinks. So I bought it, and I think it's good. I think it's very good. Let's see how it does tonight. And I also think that this Lechick 18 that we are drinking, especially the recent batches, is fantastically good. Very, very good. Let's see how everybody got on. I think the best thing to do is to bring Menno in. And then after we've done this, after Menno's in and he's given us the kind of summary, we'll just bring everybody in with Ben, and we can just have fun and try and get it over the finish line for the quiz at the end, the Christmas quiz at the end. Menno, if you're in good shape, he's still got the hat on. Fantastic, buddy, fantastic.
This is not coming off.
How is the best way to do this? Verbally, or do you think, have you got this? Can we do the screen share? What should we do here?
Either way, I've written it down. Either way.
Okay, so it's written down. So if I pull the screen share up here now, this is up to date. These coloured dots are up to date, right?
Yep.
Let's have a wee revisit to this. So everybody can see how the whiskies did, and I'll reveal these. So we've got yellow, lots in the middle, some favourite, some last, so average for yellow. A wide spread for orange all over the place. So I would say the middle of the table is yellow and orange. Would you agree?
Yep, indeed.
Did you try and assign any scores to these or anything? No?
Yeah, I tried to, based on the overall score, I tried to put it in the total.
5
overall.
points for first, 1 point for last, that kind of thing. It's a bit of a brutal thing to do to the whiskies, if I'm honest. But yeah, I would say that from me, blue seems to be quite strong. There's 4 people putting it up front, 2 in second place, 2 in third. Blue does not occupy a last place at all. And that's the exact same for red. Red has got 3 in front. But look at that second place showing for red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 9. 7 out of, is that 10 or 12? I'm not sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6 out of 12, yes, putting red in second. So I think red is also very, very strong. In fact, red could be our winner on the night, depending on the scores.
Yeah. Overall, I think so, yeah.
Red and blue. Should we reveal what we have here, Menno?
Go ahead. I'm as anxious to find out as you are.
Okay, let's do it. I can tell you that our green whiskey tonight was the one I've been talking about. It being pretty tricky for Scotch lovers to get their head round dry whiskey. It's that spice. It's that vibrant, really kind of sometimes overly floral flavour that can put people off rye whiskey. I've come to love rye whiskey. I think this is an exceptional example of a rye whiskey. 55.5% ABV. Absolutely terrific stuff. This is the Lot 40 number 1 release of the rye explorations. I thought it was just a tremendous rye whiskey. Desperate to share it with everyone. Then we've got ridiculous scenes here. This Rehashing, some people picking it as their absolute favourite tonight. At least 2 people put it right up out there in front. Menno, this is 2-year-old malt. You can't even sell this as whiskey. It's just unbelievable. And we're not talking about some fancy cask, some super tiny cask, some STR or special treated. We're talking about a huge scale. They managed to get 351 bottles out of this cask. Obviously, they lost a lot of ABV out of this. The angel share is measured here as 18%, but this was bottled in June of 2022 after distillation in April 2020. This was distilled during lockdown.
It's
I'll
amazing.
tell you. I've mentioned hopefully that the green is the Lot 40. The yellow is our 2-year-old Israeli. 2 people picking it out as their favourite. Incredible. And I know you didn't get to try these, buddy. I'm just very grateful that you've been able to hang around.
Based on the challenge, I'm not sorry I didn't get to. You didn't get to try them.
Well, we could package a wee box up for you and send it out, and you could try it after the event. Just see if it manages to get there, or we could use the Mule Network to do it legally. Here we have the McCarthy's I mentioned earlier, a 6-year-old peated barley. This is not peated cask or anything. The malt is peated. This is our orange. 6-year-old American malt whiskey, orange. Was
most people switched the lot 40 and the McCarthy.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that there's 2 people in the chat tonight put that orange 6-year-old American malt whiskey is their favourite. It did very, very well between the yellow and the orange. They're the ones that's kind of occupying the middle ground tonight. Absolutely. And then that leaves us with our blue and red. And it kind of hints at the fact that obviously you know it's worth sipping. So the 2 popular ones tonight remain Scotch whiskies. That's not a surprise because we're a Scotch whisky community. We're all into our Scotch and things like that. But this has played out blind tonight. Absolutely blind. Quite incredible to see. Overall, blue and red came top. Ralfy put blue and red top. Denise put blue and red top. Blair Stevenson put blue and red top. Sid Martin blue and red top. Incredible. There's a huge consensus here. So here we have it. The Solstice, which picked second place, and the 18-year-old Leadchick, first place. Blue for the Ben Nevis Solstice. Equinox and Solstice from Decadent Drinks. And red from Leadchick. Sorry, blue is Leadchick. Red is the Ben Nevis. Apologies. You can see the folk that are relying on listening to me have got a problem, right? But the folk that you can see. So blue came first overall tonight. 3 people picking it first. 3 people also picking the red first, interestingly. But the scores overall put blue in front, it looks like. I'll just bring that up one more time. For posterity's sake. So there we go. Now, do we want to share the scores? I tell you what we'll do. We'll bring everyone that's still in Menno. We'll bring them on for the quiz at the end. And if they want to share their scores, they can do. Is that a good way to play it?
That's a good way to play it. I don't think there will be 10 for 10s yet. We still have the quiz to do, but for the blind, I think everyone at least tripped up somewhere along the way.
When we've still got a quiz to do at the end, it's too early for bragging, right?
Nope.
Okay, buddy, let's bring in Ben. Ben, let's move you up into the top spot here. You're now driving the machine. Clear head. And I know that, so we less of the Northern Irish diction and more of the Scottish diction that you're capable of so that we can all understand you. Actually, you speak better English than me, my friend. I'm only winding you up. And let's bring in who's still available. I'll reach over to Ralfy's still there. You superstar Ralfy. Thank you for hanging out till the end.
Hello.
He's got his fairy lights as well. Fantastic. Thank you for sticking it out tonight, Ralfy. Thanks for participating. Did you enjoy the whiskies?
Yes, I have enjoyed the whiskies, and I think it's very reassuring to all the malt mates that I don't get them right, and that's the way it is.
Absolutely.
As soon as you go from the evidence provided by labels to being completely blind as to what you're actually tasting, it's a whole different script. So
but you're being modest here because you sipped a couple and you commented on a couple, and what you picked out I don't know if you said youth on the yellow. You put it in 5th place. In 1st place, you put I think it was the blue you put in 1st place by memory, and you said you'd picked out maturity on the blue. It's 18 years old. So what you're not doing is we're not trying to pick out specific whiskies, but you're trying to kind of factor in what strength is this, what age is this, what cask is this. It's much kind of broader concepts and things that you're just trying to go on your wit. And I think that does come with experience. But the biggest thing is you've touched on that comes with experience, Ralfy, is humility. Right?
Oh, bless.
Well, we can't.
Oh, stop it.
But you step up and you say, we can't. Nobody can be expected to get these right. it's not what it's about. Blind tasting is not about that. Blind tasting is to remind us all about what it is to be humble and also to keep an open mind, I think. Did you pick up on my theme about the age here? 2 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old. By the way, not all Scottish whiskies too.
Yeah. It starts to get quite fuzzy as a point of reference.
It does.
Due to circumstance, provenance, climate, and environment. But definitely, I think it's going to be very reassuring for malt mates and barflies that sitting here in the bothy, having been immersed, excuse the pun, in whiskey since the 1980s, the late 1980s.
Yep.
You can have all the experience in the world, but you can't pin things down completely. Whiskey is subjective.
And I think that when you talk about experience, we sometimes need to raise a glass for the experiences we've yet to have. Everything that's going forward as well, what the future is going to hold. Superb. Ralfy, thank you very much for hanging out with us tonight and going toe-to-toe, blow for blow with the blinds as well. I take my hat off to you, my friend. Thank you for your trust and commitment. Let's bring in Scotty Monroe from Dramface, who's sitting in the background. Let's bring in Jenny, who's still here, still dressed to the nines, looking fabulous as ever. Different class. Fantastic, Jenny. Cousin Kevin, let's bring Kevin in as well. And let's also bring in Helen.
Busy place.
Good shape. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. I hope Helen can hear us. Might be a wee bit of a delay. She's muted just now, but she can unmute herself when she comes on. Helen, it's Hell's Wood, as everybody knows her from the community. I've sent her and Andy down a wee set to sip along tonight, and she was so good that in case anybody couldn't make it tonight, had technical problems, she was waiting in the background to step in, as in a superstar that Ralfy and I are going to join together to say thank you live to everybody like we did before. Our friend Graeme, the man who was the machine, the engine behind all that super social sharing and promotion that we did in the Online Scotch Whisky Awards, and he's now stepped up to help me do and up level things at Dramface as well. We've got Graeme. Fantastic. Have I got everybody in? Is everyone here? Helen's got a problem. Let's take that Helen out and bring in this Helen. Hopefully that's working a bit better, is it?
Hopefully.
Helen, I think you've got internet issues tonight.
Possibly. I'm not in the buffy though.
Yeah. You're not in a buffy? Listen, just do the best that we can. All I hope, Ben, I need you to do a screen share now, and if fingers crossed that we can get 9 people in like Celebrity Squares, there's a throwback, and still be able to pull off a quiz at the end. Are we confident?
No.
Who said no? Wait, Ben, can you do a screen share? Oh no, we're in good shape. Now all we need to do now is get you to do that at full screen slideshow. Up in the top right, click slideshow.
Is it not done? It's full screen on my screen.
Is it? Let's try it. Okay. Oh no, you're doing it in PowerPoint.
No. We can see.
We can see.
We can see.
Oh no! Whoa. Okay, stop.
Oh, and the wheel.
No.
My eyesight's not that good.
Up the end.
I was too busy
Right
taking
there.
pictures. I missed everything.
You know, everybody taking screenshots, right?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Go.
Have we got
What
a
do, I need
slideshow?
to, what do I need to do here?
You need to go. Well, are you on a Windows machine?
Yes.
Press Control Enter. And it should blow up.
Control Enter.
It's been 10 years since I've driven a Windows machine.
Control Alt Delete.
No,
Everyone gets 10 points.
How did I do this last time?
you did it on Google Slides.
Yeah.
You can't do just Control Enter and it does a presentation. No.
Control Enter. No, that's just added another slide to my.
Right. Okay. In the bottom right, there used to be a little kind of icon that you could click to present to the whole screen. We never did a thing.
Sorry.
Just freeze yourself, even if you're not. Just
I know. Sorry.
No. They'll get passed to someone else.
We could go around the celebrity squares and just do
Yeah.
A, B, C each.
Yeah. Scotty, are you, from your perspective, are you in the middle?
I am in
Yes.
the middle, aye.
All right. So if I do that, I can reach out and shake your hand. Does that happen? Now you see if you can.
Why can I not do it? Oh my God.
See, you can't. It's too hard. It's too hard to do. We'll just distract ourselves while we let Ben.
How did
try
everybody
and-
do in the challenges? I was not very good at that.
I was pretty dreadful, Jenny. There's either been a mix-up in my samples or my smell and taste.
Does anybody want to admit their scores?
Yeah, sure.
I'm pretending
Yeah.
I've got a long arm like Jenny now. I've got a double arm.
Yeah, so I get in total, I get 3 out of 10.
Oh, Scotty, 3 out of 10.
Oh my God, that's good.
Superb. Jenny, are you willing to admit?
Totally, yeah, absolutely not a problem whatsoever. I got 1 point.
Oh my goodness, 1 out of 10. Oh, love
Yeah.
it. Love it. That's what blind tasting's all about. Let's go for Helen.
I got 1 out of 10 as well. So Jenny,
Oh.
good club to be in.
Yeah.
Jenny and Helen, 1 out of 10. That's it's what blind tasting's all about.
Yeah.
Ralfy?
I haven't a clue. I haven't figured this out. I'll tell you what, I'll show you what I put, right?
There it is for posterity's sake.
There it is.
Fantastic. What do we
figure
say?
that one out?
What do we say? A show of hands for giving Ralfy 10 out of 10 for even taking it on.
No. No 10 out of 10s. I've settled for 3 or 2 or whatever.
Terrific. Who have we got then? We've got cousin Kevin. What did you end up in the end?
Well, I'm the same as Ralphie. I'm not sure. I got 3 out of 5. I got the Israeli malt right, the Highlander 7-year-old, and the 18-year-old Highlander correct.
Well done.
So,
Good.
however that works out, and I got the American and Canadian back to front, which I felt I was going to get back to front. So I'm going to say 3 out of 5, maybe 3 out of 10 then, because I don't know what the other 2 bits were. I missed bits.
I think that extrapolates to a pass mark.
Yeah.
You said it. I'll take it. No takebacks.
Right, wait. We've got some issues. Let's drop out this Ben. We've now got two Bens in. Let's bring that one in. Ben, have you worked it out?
I think so. I've tried something else. Hang on, 2 secs.
Well, when you think you're good, just hold your hand up. Graeme,
Okay.
my friend, how did you get on? Did you keep score tonight?
I did keep score, yeah. Didn't do as well as I had hoped, but I did okay. 3 out of 10.
Modesty. What did you get?
3 out of 10.
It's a brutal one tonight, wasn't it? Is there anybody's score I don't have? Ben. I'll just let Ben work on it.
Working?
No, I don't have. So what I need you to do now is do a screen.
there we go.
Right.
Oh,
so
I
now
am screen sharing.
Yeah.
right, I can see that.
Looks better.
No, I'm not confident.
It's just showing a black screen, but it's
It
Right,
says
let's-
it's screen sharing.
it was showing just
Let's
a
try
black.
that. I've still got
Screen sharing. Right, hang on. I'll try and screen share again.
the screen share is working. But what we need is
Present.
a slideshow from you. You did this perfectly in March, Ben.
No, I know. I mean, in fairness, I am screen sharing.
So all
Share
it's
screen.
not the screen share. You just need to learn. I need a Windows person to tell you what buttons to press in order to do a
Well, so I'm going
slideshow.
present, and then I've got slides, video file, or screen share. And I want-
Present slides.
Slides. Okay.
Right, and now screen share on StreamYard.
Yeah, I'm in StreamYard. Oh.
Jimmy Legg is shouting at me now. He's saying, I'm not telling you again, Aqua VT. So, Jimmy Legg, let's look. You can lead him into whiskey, but you can't make him keep score. Function 5. Hit function
F5.
5.
F5.
F5. Okay. I don't know why this isn't working.
Right,
Yeah.
I tell you what we're going to do. you're just going to read them out, Ben.
Oh.
And do interpretive dance for
I'm
the
sorry,
picture
I can't even hear you.
I like that. I like that, Menno. That's a great idea.
100% agree. Hands up if you agree. I agree.
Yeah, I'll do interpretive dance. It's okay.
Normally I would do a tech check, but because we'd done it together in March, I thought we're in good shape. You're just going to need to. We're going to need to rely on your diction, and we're all going to need to have our wee A, B's, and C's, and we're going to need to just rely on you reading it out. If we can't get the screen share to work, the slideshow to work, buddy, we just need to do what we can with what we have. Oh, Scotty's got it on his smartphone. He's showing off. Look at that.
Well, I'm showing off. A pencil. That's all I've got here.
Ben, the screen shares are not working. You agree? We can see too much. We can see the answers if we pull in the screen share, unless you can make the thumbnails small enough for it not to matter. What do you think?
Should we cover our eyes? Just in case.
Well, I brought the boy on and I asked him to do a really tough blind challenge and host a quiz as well.
Well, I mean, I could take the opportunity to say thank you so much to all the donations that come in tonight. It's over £370 being donated tonight. Just
amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, exactly. I'm so grateful. I can't believe it. Thank you all from all over the world as well.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. So, hey, that's a fantastic start, Jenny. I wish you continued success with bringing in donations and with the auction as well.
Yeah,
Ben, are you
the runner?
I think he just dropped out. Are you ready to just read it out to us? I think we're going to need to do that. Buddy, Ben, Earth calling Ben.
Right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
We can hear you. Yes.
Right. Okay. I'm really sorry. I don't know why it's not.
It's just obviously it's just to get it to try when you click on that presentation window. So I've got the window up now. I can get it. I can get to it, Ben. If you click on your PowerPoint and then just press F5, see if that works. Click on your PowerPoint window and then press F5.
F5 just mutes me.
No, it mutes you. Okay. So the Jimmy leg tip doesn't work. So I'm gonna try and just don't look at the screen right now. Don't look at the screen. Look at see that the scroll at the bottom right of the screen to the left hand side of the Zoom. That's usually the thing you click. Yeah, that's it. Why is that not working? Slideshow. Click that. Why is it not working?
Yeah. No, that's what I've clicked, but it doesn't work.
Right, I can't read that. Let's go for it. Ben, just scroll. We can't read it. Oh, we can read it. Can you see the little thumbnails on the left? You can get rid of that, right? You can make those disappear. What do you click to make that disappear on the left, the thumbnails? So we can't see the thumbnails, if that makes sense. This is the value of timestamps.
I just seen Scotty screenshot there and zoom in. I seen him.
Right.
You caught him.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Can right? Okay. Can people hear me? Because I'm getting a really bad echo.
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Let's see if we can help your echo. Is that better?
Okay.
Is that better?
That's better, isn't it?
Yes, that's brilliant. Thanks, Roy.
Because every time you drop and rejoin, there's two of you.
I'm sorry why this hasn't worked. Yeah. Good, Roy. Thank you. Oh right. No, it's still echoing.
I don't know what to do, buddy. I don't know what to do.
Why don't we all ask one question each and make it best of 9? We make a question up on the spot, but we need to know the answer.
This is the Christmas quiz. We just need to
It's
settle
Christmas
down.
gremlins.
There's some reason that screen share's not. I don't even know if we can.
Well,
share
I tell you
this
what, I can still do it with the echo. I tell you what,
Right,
I
you
can,
just
Roy,
read.
I can
just
still
read
do
it
it
out.
with the echo.
Read
Yeah.
it out, buddy.
Okay.
Go Christmas quiz.
Okay. So question 1, really easy.
Hey,
Which distillery ran its stills for the first time on Christmas Day on 1887?
yes.
Is it Glenelgin, Glenglassaugh, or Glenfiddich?
A. Glenelgin, B. Glenglassaugh, or C. Glenfiddich. Which distillery first ran its stills on Christmas Day and when?
87.
I am ready with this. No echo here, says Blackfen. Thank you.
No, it was my fault. I had 2 things running, so good. Right,
No.
let's see.
I'm ready. You give us a countdown when you're ready, Ben. I'm good with
3,
this one.
2, let's all see your answers.
Oh,
We're all in. We're all in. Fantastic.
Oh,
Good start.
Ralfy, come on. Come on, that was an easy one to ease you all in.
Well, it's an easy one if you're regular attendees at the vPub quiz at the end.
No excuses, Roy.
No, what did you answer, Ralfie?
Glenglassaugh.
Oh, dearie me, you're right. No excuses. No excuses. Aye, Christmas Day.
Am I bothered?
I think every vPub Christmas quiz that we have, that's the one that raises its head, I think. Superb. Question 2, Ben.
So, question 2 is Santa lives in Lapland, but which of these whiskey distilleries is closest to his house?
Oh.
Is it
Goodness
Mackmyra,
gracious.
Cairo, or Smogan?
What's the middle one? So A, Mackmyra, B,
Cairo,
Cairo.
B, Cairo,
Cairo.
or C, Smogan?
C, Smogan. Okay. Okay. I'm guessing a wee bit here.
Yeah, me too.
Jimmy Leg is saying beautiful Ralfie. Ralfie shaming. I didn't shame Ralphie.
No, I appreciate it.
And he appreciates it.
He's gone again.
Right. Oh, Ben's gone.
He's gone.
I think he's just fed up. I think he's just
Fair enough.
Well, I pull up the quiz from last year. I am saying B, that it's Cairo.
Same Smogan. Cairo,
I'm
yeah.
saying Smogan C.
Smogan C. Let's see if Ben turns
well,
up.
actually, here's an interesting fact for you. Smogan is the closest distiller to where I grew up, and I am Santa today.
To be fair, Mrs. Claus will know that best.
Absolutely.
I think
Oh my goodness.
isn't Smogan way down south in Sweden?
It's on the west coast, yeah, about an hour
Yeah.
away from where I grew up. Yeah, beautiful
Right.
part of Sweden. Beautiful.
I tell you what we'll do. I tell you what I'm going to attempt to do. Since Ben has pulled a parachute, I think he's just kicked his laptop across his living room. I'm going to go in and see if I can pull out last year's Christmas quiz. What do you think about that?
Just last week's will do. It's fine.
Last week's.
I agree with
If
Scott.
we
I'm
all
happy with that.
ask a question each, it means that all of us get at least 1 point.
I'd probably still get my own question wrong, Ralphie. I'll be quite good at that.
I was thinking that.
Right. I've found a quiz, 23rd of December, 2021.
Wow.
There's going to be questions in that is absolutely relevant to December a year ago. But given the fact that Ben is currently throwing his laptop around Linlithgow,
Already gone down the crapper, so we might as well.
I think it's already gone down the hole. Let's see if we can salvage it. Right, what do we say? Let's see if this will work at the stream. 23rd of December 2021.
We're all in
By the way,
lockdown.
if all you barflies out there in the community don't get a high score in this one, the ones that have been around for a while, I don't know what else I can do. Everybody, let's start from scratch again. Let's reel through this. What's the oldest age statement that Glenfarclas 105 has been released as? Oh my goodness. Now, bear in mind, 105 is the equivalent of 60% ABV. The old 105 proof was 60% ABV. So what's the oldest 60% ABV Glenfarclas 105 has been released as? A, 10 years old, B, 25 years old, or C, 40 years old? I can't anticipate any longer, but Menno, you still can. Play along. What's the oldest range Glenfarclas 105 has been released as, the oldest age? A, 10 years, 25 years old, or C, 40 years old? Let's remove it. Let's bring you all up. What have you got? An A, C. Menno thinks 40. B for, is that Scotty? Yep. B for Ralfy. I'm looking for anybody else that can step up and match.
Least likely, and it's a banana skin, so might as well.
Menno. There has been a 40-year-old, 60% proof Glenfarclas. Anybody that answered C, like so many of the barflies in the chat, knowledgeable folk that you are, did. Question, there it is there, a 40-year-old Glenfarclas. Question
I prefer
2.
the first quiz.
Can I just mention, I am actually playing this now because of my really rubbish memory. A year ago, I remember that one, but this is going to be a challenge for me. Diageo's The Singleton has 3 malt distilleries under the brand: Dufton, Glendullan, and what? A, another Speyside, B, a Highlander, or C, a Lowlander? So the Singleton is a brand, but it's made up of 3 malt brands. It's in the top 5 best-selling malt brands, but Diageo, you are cheating. You're competing with Glenmorangie, with Glenlivet, and Glenfiddich, with 3 distilleries and not just one. Regardless, what makes up the Singleton? A, another Speyside, B, a Highlander, or C, a Lowlander? Show me your answers. B. Oh, wow. You all seem to think.
Is it Glenord?
Yeah.
Glenord, yeah.
Absolutely. Glenord, a Highlander. Fantastic. Good score so far. This is better. 3. Clynelish famously operated as Clynelish A and Clynelish B for a few years. Which other Diageo distillery did the same in the 70s and 80s? Wow, this is a hard quiz. This isn't a Christmas treat. What was I thinking about last year? My goodness.
Yeah.
A, Linkwood. B, Glenmurray. Or C, Royal Lochnagar. Ah, I see how I was helping you out. I see what I was doing here. Read the question. It might help you if you think that this is tough. Right away, show me your answers, please. Helen says C, all over the place. Again here, A. Absolutely, I think, going from memory. And
could you excuse me, Roy? I need to go outside the bothy for a pee.
Oh,
it's a call of nature. I can't help it.
Absolutely, buddy. Absolutely. You go right ahead.
Switch the mic off, please.
I don't want to be the first person to wet their pants in a V quiz.
And we won't judge you on the time it takes either. Fantastic. I'll tell you that Ralfy, as he leaves the room, he's absolutely right. Linkwood is the answer we're looking for.
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff. Question 4. Andy at Maltbox has released his whiskey of the year. Now, this, bear in mind, this is 2021. What did Andy at Maltbox release his whiskey of the year in 2021? What was it last year? I think I know this. I think I remember. A, was it A, a blended malt? B, an English single malt? Or C, a Scottish single malt? We asshat logo down there as well. I don't actually think it's an asshat, and that's obviously it requires me being right. But Andy in Maltbox in 2021, not this year, of course, released his whiskey of the year. Was it a blended malt? Was it an English single malt or a Scottish single malt? Everybody thinks it's a blended malt. Anybody want to shout out what they think it was?
I think the Compass Box.
Compass Box.
Orchard House.
Yeah.
Jenny. Aye. I think you're absolutely right. Let's have a look. A blended malt, absolutely. Fantastic. You're all scoring well. I think the quiz is doing as well. Papa Q, Jerry got it absolutely right. Fantastic. Orange Wool. Nicholas, Peter Lee. Fantastic, Peter. Good to see you playing along. And Tim Hoekstra is in and got it right. Andrew Butler scoring 4 out of 4 on last year's quiz. You start, Andrew. Question 5. Oh, this is a Christmas theme. What are we looking at here? I don't even know what question I asked here. Let's see what the answers are. What producer has put out this label? I think it must have been A. It's this big winter knitted pattern thing. Is it A from Compass Box? Is it B from Glenmorangie? Or is it C from Macallan? Look at you all, eager beavers with your answers up in the window already. Terrific stuff. We're making use of the delay tonight. The answers are coming in thick and fast. Everybody thinks it's Glenmorangie. My goodness, this isn't that hard a quiz. It's quite easy. This is obviously their tale of winter then, is it? Is it Glenmorangie? Absolutely it is. Well done. Knocking it out of the park. Knocking it out of the park.
For Ralfy, it was P. A, B, C, P.
Ask me back, folks. Just give me the mark anyway, whatever the question was.
You take it.
Help with my points.
Absolutely. Ralfy, you're scoring. You're on full marks so far as we roll into the second half.
No, I'm not. You're making that up. Just
no,
to try and
if you
nice because it's Christmas and the season of goodwill. But I know that it's like Eurovision. I'm on nil point, and I'm just got to deal with it, and it's fine.
No, that's the thing. It is Christmas, and it's the vPub. It's the quiz. You're only playing against yourself. I know for a fact that you would have known every single one of the questions that we've just asked. Glenmorangie's Tale of Winter. You got Linkwood right before you even left the room, so you're in good shape. Don't worry about it at all.
Wonderful.
Question 6. All but one of Diageo's original 1988 classic malts are A, still available today, B, made with worm tub condensers, or C, sold at 43% ABV. This is a tricky one. I'm not sure about this one. A banana skin here. I'm thinking about this now. All but one of Diageo's original 1988 classic single malts are A, still available. I'm playing this myself now. I'm going to hold up a letter for this one. Let's see how we're doing. All but one, I think, are still available today. I think one has been ditched. Glencairns.
Yeah.
Glencairns was a 10-year-old and now it's a 12. So let's see. I'm playing based on last year. Made with worm tubs? No. Sold at 43? No, because there's 40s in there. Oh my goodness! Oh no! I slipped him on banana skin. That's perfect. Oh, nightmare. Did anybody else slip?
No one got B, I think.
Sorry?
Well, the B was the one I was going for, but I saw the banana skin. Thought, well, it's not going to be B, is it?
Well, it turns out it was.
Are they?
These quizzes I make are hard. Question 7. Which 2021 Untold Legends, Diageo special releases we're obviously looking at here, 16-year-old special release featured a horse on the packaging and bottle. So this would have been a 2021 Diageo special releases. We're looking for a 16-year-old with a horse. A, Royal Lochnagar, B, Lagavulin, or C, Oban. Diageo special releases with a horsey on it. My goodness.
Somebody just made a horse noise. It was like,
yeah. D, who cares?
Yeah.
I don't know. A pure guess.
oh,
Right. Royal Lochnagar. I never put my thing up.
I'm not even sure Lochnagar was.
I never put my letter up, but of course that's what I would have answered.
Of course it is, Roy.
Here we go.
Of course it is.
Well,
I do remember that one. I never bought it, but I do remember it. It's a pricey one. Okay.
Expensive.
Yep.
There's no cheap special releases, that's for sure.
No.
Question 8. American Prairie Reserve. Oh my goodness, Roy. Is a sourced straight bourbon release from which American distiller? These are brutal. Roy, what are you thinking about? American Prairie Reserve is a sourced straight bourbon release from which American producer? A, Wonderback, B, Westland, or C, High West? Oh, I'm guessing, but I'm going to guess for the rest of you.
Scotty seemed quite sure. I should have copied
Yeah,
him.
I've had a bottle of it.
I'm
quite
going to change my
confident.
answer.
Or have I?
Double bluffing.
Okay, so now I'm suddenly scared that I've not got the right one up, but I'll stick with it anyway. Let's remove that. I'm holding up. What's Scotty going to hold up?
High West.
Oh no! Oh no! It was High West.
Yay.
I would take that point because I copied Scott.
Well done, Scotty Monroe. Well done, anybody that answered C. I am now down 2. I have lost 2 of my own quiz questions from merely a year ago. Perfect. The highest I've ever scored on any quiz is 8 out of 10, and I'm not beating it tonight. Question 9. Which of these distilleries, oddly, has a shell and tube condenser as well as a worm tub fitted to its wash still? I know this one. I know this one, despite the banana that's there. I know this one. Is it A, Dalmunnock, B, Knockdhu, or C, Daftmill? We're looking for a wash still that's fitted with a shell and tube condenser and a worm tub. An odd thing, down to one man specifically. A, Dalmunnock, B, Knockdhu, or C, Daftmill? Right, are we ready? Oh, we know this. There's lots of experience in the chat tonight. Yep, absolutely. Lots of folk in the chat getting it right as well. Nicola Runev, that looks like a new name, Nicola. Going for A, but I think it was B, buddy. Let's see what we're doing here. Knockdhu, I think. Aye, Knockdhu. Down to Gordon Bruce, I think. Gordon Bruce decided just to see what it would do. I don't know. It'd be nice to get him on the vPub one night and ask him what the reasoning for that was. But he's turned out to make some terrific whiskey. So how are we doing for scores? How are we doing? I'm on 7 for 9. Oh, Helen's on 6. Graeme? 5. 7 for Scotty. Me and Scotty's on 7 for Menno. It's a tough quiz, Kevin.
I'm on 8.
That's 7 as well.
Oh, nice.
7. 4 for Ralfy. You need a pass mark for the last one, Ralfy. Graeme, how are you going on?
I'm on 8.
8. Oh! Ooh. The boy from Cumbernauld is stealing it and taking it and running it.
Andy's got 9.
But you got a helping hand, so.
Yeah.
Andy's got 9, Helen.
Andy's got 9.
Fantastic.
Andy's got 9?
Me. Yeah, he's not helping me. I've got 6 and he's got 9.
That's the joys of sobriety as he sits in the corner there driving early tomorrow. Okay, let's see how Andy does then.
It's funny when you add up the first quiz and my quiz, I still have the same amount as Andy.
Question 10. How many of Inverhouse's 5 distilleries have worm tub condensers installed?
Oh, for fun at Wendy's.
Inverhouse owns Balmenock, Balblair, Old Pulteney, Knockdhu, and Speyburn. I don't know if that's going to help anybody.
No.
But how many of Inverhouse's 5 distilleries have worm tub condensers installed? The same as the number of A, Diageo's Corners of Scotland, B, Stills installed at Clydeside Distillery, or C, Ballantyne's series single malts. So this is the idea of an ASHAT. It's so contrived, so obtuse. So you have to know the answer to the A, B, and C, even if you know the answer to question 10 there. You still have to know the answers to the answers in order to get it. The true answer. How many of Inverhouse's 5 distilleries have worm tub condensers installed? The same number as A, Diageo's Corners of Scotland, B, Stills at Clydeside Distillery, or C, Ballantyne's series single malts. Okay, this is the asshat at the end. I know this one. I know this one. This is definitely my thing. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Anybody else? A. I think I'm right, Helen. Don't get excited quite yet. A for Menno, A for Graeme, A for Kevin.
Yeah, crowdsourced.
Fingers crossed. Please be A. Please be A. Please be A. Please be A.
He's a finger warrior there.
Oh, well, I can safely say that in terms of the people who are participating live tonight, this is not a 10 out of 10. Personally, I think it's a triumph that you even managed to put a quiz out. Let's see how we're doing. MG Rodney saying, who's Ivor? Did I write Ivor? Sorry, I meant Inverhouse. Inverhouse.
Andy got 10. Andy got 10.
Andy managed a 10 out of 10. Orange Rule as well as joining Andy on a 10 out of 10. You should put that. He's as shocked as anyone. Jerry Miller is saying a 9 out of 10 plus 1 from Ben's quiz.
Take it, Jerry, take it.
Falscraft is saying 7 out of 10 where I scraped above my average. Fantastic, Falscraft. And Graeme Fraser is saying 7 out of 10 after a bad start, pulled it back, superb. And Jimmy Legg is celebrating Orange Rules 10 out of 10. Fair play to you, buddy. And Excess to Scotch is celebrating a 7. Fantastic. Can anybody beat our 8? I got an 8 tonight. I'm quite happy with an 8. I don't. Oh, Graeme gets a 9 out of 10.
Thank you.
First time on a quiz as well, Graeme. You superstar.
Stuart's inquiry for the dog being there.
That's pretty high. Is
inside
that a high
info
score for you, Graeme, or is that normal for you?
I got months and months ago. I got a 10 out of 10.
The 23rd of December last year, he got 10 out of 10. This year, he got 9 out of 10.
Cherish the moment is all I say.
Cherish the moment. Yeah. And remember, Ebhead is saying Aquavite. It's too much. Jimmy Legg is saying Orange Rule, you're the best man of 2021 because it's last year's quiz, of course. Julian Rickman has bought me a wee dram as well. Julian, I appreciate that. I really do. Thank you so much. No comment or anything, but I appreciate your dram, buddy. Julian, I think I've welcomed you before. I hope I have. Cheers. And I can't see anybody else that can match Rule and Andy Widdowson tonight for the King of the somewhat salvaged Christmas quiz. Amazing. Jenny, listen, it's not a Christmas vPub or a Christmas anything unless the wheels come off at the end. I hope that the wheels and the fundraiser the wheels don't come off that. I hope it continues to do very, very well going forward. And I wish you the very, very best with the auction as well. Anybody that's watching on the replay, there will be links underneath. But of course, if you want to know anything more about that, go over to dramface.co.uk on the news section. All the links and the details will be there for you to pick it up. But stepping forward tonight, dressed as you have been, Jenny, and stay until the end and seen it through right until the end, until we're nearly at 1 o'clock in the morning, my goodness. And yet you deserve to smash that 20 grand and a lot more. Gino Camo's brought us a dram to say, Roy, I want to wish you and your family a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and also to all the barflies. Cheers, my whiskey friends. And Falscraft is saying, okay, thank you for a fantastic evening. Good night, Roy. Merry Christmas and all a very good night. Falscraft, thank you for your kind wishes. And Gino, thank you, my friend, for your dram. Can we all raise a wee glass? And anybody that wants to hang about for a minute while I go and have a wee comfort break. I don't have a stream nearby like Ralfy. I've got a bit of a longer walk. But immediately after the credits roll, if anybody's still here, I'll finish off with left of my blind drams. But I think what we need to do...
break, Roy. A wee comfort break. How polite, how civil. Say as it is, you need a pish.
Aye, and you know better than most that I'm in the East End of Glasgow, so it is me putting on airs and graces, isn't it? Aye,
absolutely.
I'm desperate for a pish, and it needs to happen. It needs to happen. I was watching a Jim Whiskey Novice's live stream. I was listening to it in the background today, and he actually finished his stream by saying, people, I need to say goodbye now. My back teeth are floating in the stream end. Which is fair play to Jim. That's terrific. Jim Legacy and Roy, thanks for everything. Merry Christmas to everyone, except Gregor, of course. That's Jimmy's way of saying that how much he loves Gregor. Thank you for your dram, Jimmy. Thank you so much. Rican Haddix is saying, go on, Ralfy. Say it how it is. Molasses Mike says, Ralfy needed a malt moment. On that, I'll thank all of you for your trust, for your support, for everything over the last year. Join me next week, of course, when I can summarise the year and celebrate what 2022 has meant for me, all the whiskies, the moments and everything else in between. But tonight, I'm going to say thank you for stepping forward and making me feel like I have pals. It means a hell of a lot. For your trust, for everything, I hope I always do it justice. Let's raise this glass to everybody, to all the beautiful whiskey folk and dedicated barflies, and say, Merry Christmas, everyone. You're all very dearly loved. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Cheers. Merry Christmas. Good Yule.
Cheers. beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you go. But the prettiest sight you see is the bottle that you'll see at your own front door.